Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome once again. We are getting ready for some more Root Film. Making sure that I have everything up. All right. So welcome back. As always, I am your don't know why I keep opening up weird like this. But anyway, hello everyone. Welcome to the stream. My name is Raven Strap Streams, whatever you want to call me. And we are picking right back up with more Root Film. So we're picking up more with Riho Part 2. So last time we played Riho, we met up with a friend, um, had a nice dinner with her and her dad. Her dad gets called off and dies mysteriously, and we got wrapped up in a whole family power struggle nightmare. Um, Ultimately leading to the discovery that um, her supposed uncle was murdered by her brand new cousin from the dad's former family, um, and the dad himself was not actually murdered at all, but was unfortunately caught in just caught in a situation where there was interference with his medication, causing an unfortunate accident. I really hope that you guys are at least enjoying the titles of these, because let me tell you, I am spending so much time trying to figure out what to name these things, because it was easy when I was just doing movies, mysteries, and murder. And I could just do more movies, mysteries, and murder. And I can't decide if I want Part Five's one to end up being maximum movies, maximum movies, mysteries and murder, or if I want to keep the alliteration thing going on with this, because let me tell you, that's a nightmare trying to come up with. Hey, what can I do? What can I do that's like that I can use to work with film, with different things from murders? Last time was easy because it's footage, family, and fatalities, which I liked. But this one, this might change depending on what I do for the YouTube side, but this one is currently archives, authors, and assassination. Let me tell you, it's incredibly hard to come up with something. I had to completely drop the whole. I guess I dropped the mystery thing last time as well, but here we are with more Riho and her story. The town of Omori, located in the Shimane Prefecture's Oda City. A scenic town built around the Iwami Silver Mine, one of the biggest silver mines in Japan. The Aochi, Amago, and Mori clans once fought over this mine. Surrounded by this beautiful scenery, Riho stands still in the center of the road. Even with you gone, this town remains just as beautiful, and that won't change even after I'm gone, will it? This is likely the last time I lay eyes on this scenery. Rio's face contorts in a sorrow in Rio's face contorts in a sorrowful expression for a moment, but soon she bites her lips and looks on with resolve in her eyes. I am sorry. Having to try to put these words into an actual sentence that makes sense. She pats down her hair as if to shake something off, and turns around to stride forth. But soon, she stops her stride, and her expression blooms into a smile. How was that, Manabe? It was okay. Not bad. Manabe, who is holding the camera and recording, walks up to Riho as she gives her a fair assessment. They used the first bit of free time they had in a while to scout out their next set in the Iwami silver mine. Not bad, huh? Can't say I'm convinced. Who were you trying to imitate with that crooked tone of voice? Riho ignores Manabe's anger at her impression of her, and sinks into thought. I get the feeling I could do better, though. What can I improve? Can we give it another go? Another one? How many times are you gonna try? Despite her griping, Manabe turns the camera towards Riho again. Alright, take number 5. 3, 2, action! Even with you gone, this town remains just as beautiful. And that won't change even after I'm gone, will it? This is likely the last time I lay eyes on this scenery. How did you like that? I tried putting a bit of spin on that line. I don't know, Riho, it sounded like you read it the exact same way that you did before. Almost like the person who's playing this forgot that's what you were trying to do. Think it's a bit better? Oh, that's high praise coming from the dragonfly of low scores, Manabe! Who are you calling a dragonfly of low scores? Manabe can't help but exclaim at that odd expression that left Riho's lips. It was then that it happened. Huh? Bravo! Brilliant acting! A woman clad in a gaudy urban dress that appeared to be in her mid-30s approaches Riho. I'll actually get the voices back up for you guys. I want the sound effect volume to still be higher than the voice volume, though. That acting back there, you're something special. Huh? Give me a second. I'll guess. Yeah, you're definitely in showbiz. But even with looks like yours, you don't look like the type to make ugly demands. You're not just pretty, you've got good confidence behind it. And even though you're not that famous yet, you've gotten enough trust built up with your manager to joke around. In other words, you're a hard-working actress that's on the verge of breaking out while using swimsuit modeling to build up clout. How did you figure all that out? Yeah, everything except for the hard-working part. Huh? You got a problem, miss? Ignoring Riho, who has no comeback, Manabe turns to face the woman. Who might you be? You don't look like just a tourist. Oh, I'm sorry. I haven't introduced myself. I'm Kana Hatsuse. Hatsuse. Huh? Kana Hatsuse. That name sounds familiar. Huh? Wait, are you? Riho is about to say something as Manabe cuts into her words excitedly. Might you be the mystery author, Kana Hatsuse? The one who wrote the longitudinal reasoning series? Manabe? That's right. I suppose that is the identifier society uses to refer to me. Yes, that's right. I can't believe I actually get to see you in the flesh. What are you, broken record? I've read all of your works, and I've been a big fan of yours. Hey, calm down, Manabe. Your pronunciation's all over the place. That wasn't proper of me. I'm sorry. I just got a bit excited. Oh no, thank you. I'm always happy to meet fans of mine. I'm Manabe, Riho's manager. And said Riho is me. That's my stage name. Just Riho. Manabe and Riho. Noted. So, Riho, do you usually work in Tokyo? That's right. I'm here in Shimane for a shoot. Kana is teeming with curiosity and asks Riho and Manabe a lot of questions. The conversation picks up and time flies by. Before they even know it, the sun is already setting. Oh, look at the time. Would you... Things just fell. Would you like to stop by my place? I'll be holding a birthday party tomorrow. I'd love for you two to be there. Huh? Really? We can't impose on you. Oh, don't worry. It's a light little party for my family, family and friends. You can spend the night at my place and be in the party tomorrow. Well, being invited to visit the home of an author she admires made Manabe's face light up with expectation. But she soon regains her composure and her voice fills with regret. I'd love to say yes, but we've already reserved at a hotel room, and we can't cancel it now. Oh, really? Yes, so I'm sorry, but we can't. And after you were kind enough to invite us. I see. That's a pity. Yes, I feel the same way. Manabe tries to hide her disappointment, but it still shows clearly. Seeing her like this, Riho taps Manabe's shoulder and speaks cheerfully. Come on, Manabe. You can't say no after she invited us. Talking to such a famous author is sure to teach me tons about acting. Huh? But the cancellation fee? Forget it. Just tell the president you did it for my training and convince him to cover for it. And if he says no, I'll pay the fee out of my own pocket. Riho. Manabe holds Riho's hands tightly. Hey, you're still not getting paid much because you're a beginner. Thank you, Riho. If you feel that way, how about you give me a raise next time? That's a different matter altogether. Huh? And so, the pair found themselves spending a night at the mystery author Kana Hatsuse's estate. Kana drove them by car south from the Omorimachi along the 46th highway. They then crossed the intersection with the 166th highway and pulled over along the side of the road. Past here is my estate, the Capricious Hall. The Capricious Hall? Yes, I operate on capricious ideas, hence the Capricious Hall. Fits a mystery author's house, wouldn't you say? I think it's a lovely name. Well, while we're talking... Oh, you can see it there. With that said, Kana points at a mountain near the Iwami silver mine. One moment, guys. Sorry about that. With that said, Kana points at a mountain nearby the Iwami silver mine. The Capricious Hall was worthy of its name. It was a beautiful Western-style house that had something of a mysterious atmosphere to it. Whoa! It kind of looked like the place you could experience a mystery story in. Riho, that's rude. You make it sound like a murder could happen there. Oh, right. It's fine. I picked the plot with that impression in mind. Eh? With that in mind? A building that just screams mystery. I figured the living there might serve as inspiration for my writing. Oh,
I see. She built a whole house just for writing inspiration? Genius authors really are strange, huh? Wait, didn't Manabe poke fun at me for liking mystery novels? But she likes Kana's novels. Kana Utsuse's novels are categorized as a light mystery. They focus on the characters rather than the case or solving the mystery. Riho prefers orthodox or neo-orthodox mystery, so she isn't as familiar with this type of mystery novel. But it's still a best-selling mystery author's house. This is pretty exciting. As that thought crosses Riho's mind, their car pulls over in front of the estate's entrance. Alright, come in and make yourselves at home. I'll show you around. This is the room you'll be staying in tonight. Kana leads him to the fourth guest room on the Capricious Hall's second floor. Wow! This is such a pretty room! This is much better than some hotel room! Ain't it the truth? Riho looks into the room. The room's basic theme was the color white, and the ornaments had a soothing atmosphere. I think we're looking at two completely different rooms, Riho. There's no ornaments around here, and this is like a pale golden yellow. There's a bit of a secret trick to this room, so I'd be happy if you tried to figure it out later. A secret? Yep. Check it out before you go to bed. I'm sure you'll have some fun. Oh? Wow! Look at this room! This is a party room? Yes, it was always my dream to have a party in a western estate in the middle of nowhere. Doesn't it feel like the perfect setting for an incident? I see. It suits a queen of mystery like you, Miss Kana. It sounds lovely. I'd rather an incident doesn't actually happen, though. It seems tomorrow's party is being set up. A woman is moving hurriedly between the tables, putting up decorations. Hiro! Hiro! Wait! The woman notices Kana's voice. The woman, Hiro, stops working and approaches them. Let me introduce you. This here is my secretary, Hiro. I'm Hiroko Mizukami. A pleasure. These are Riho and Manabe. I met them on my walk today, and we really hit it off, so I invited them to the party tomorrow. Another unexpected surprise out of you? I'm sorry. She really does have a tendency to act randomly. The whole thing isn't a bother, is it? Oh, no, not at all. We're honored, if anything. We were happy to be invited. Oh, that's good. Is she the same as Kana? She looks like a really nice person. With that first impression crossing Riho's mind, they exchanged greetings. Hiro is my live-in manager. She's great at her job. She's great at her job too. I don't know what I'd do without her. I'm not that good at this. You're just terrible at taking care of yourself. The moment I take my eyes off you, you leave a mess. You forget to eat when you're focused on writing. Writing's the only thing you're good for. Wow. She sounds exactly like me. So, for those that aren't aware, streaming and playing games aren't exactly my, main pursuit. I am working on becoming an author. I have a few things in the works already. I'm just working on getting them actually fleshed out and finished before I try to approach anyone about it. But I am very familiar with the, oh wait, I'll just sit down, jot down a few ideas, grab breakfast in about 30 minutes, and then I work for a little bit, get up. Oh, it's almost dinner time. I'm very used to that. But thanks to your support, all my dreams came true. You even made sure they built this estate exactly the way I wanted it. Because the builders couldn't read those scribbles you called blueprints. Make this room bomb-proof. Built this room in the image of Ekaterina III. The poor architects were at a loss. But you managed to turn it all into blueprints they could read. Good going, Hiro. You really get me. My god, you're so easygoing. Hiroko heaves an exasperated sigh, but then cracks a forced smile. Riho gets the impression that she's like a helpful mother. Somehow, I get the feeling the two of you really get along. We've been friends since high school. We were in the literature club and liked mysteries, and we both wanted to be authors and thought up tricks. When we graduated, Hiroko gave up on being an author, but... yes, that's what happened. But now I can support you as your manager, and I enjoy that. You're so nice, Hiroko! If only a certain someone could be as sweet as you. Glance, glance. Well, if another certain someone could make the same achievements that Miss Kana has, maybe I'd be that sweet. Oh. There. The four of them chat for a while longer, after which Hiroko returns to preparing for the party. Kono, could you come over here, please? She calls out to a man walking across the tables while checking a list. The man smells cheerfully and raises a hand as he approaches. Oh, Miss Kana! This right here is Joji Kono. He's the chief in charge of cooking for tomorrow's party. He came all the way here from Tokyo just for the occasion. Oh, I'm not here just for the occasion. No need to be so reserved, Miss Kana. I'd come over whenever you call for me. But, of course, compared to your beauty or your novels, my cooking isn't even the garnish adorning the main dish. Ah, you always exaggerate. Not at all. You're as natural and lovely as ever, Miss Kana. As the two of them laugh, Riho whispers to Manabe, You know, I can't stand this kind of guy. Don't worry, I can't stand people like him either. Like, the rest of this doesn't really give us a whole lot, so I will go through what I can. Whoa! You even have a stage here! It's for if I or one of my guests need to hold a speech. Maybe you or Manabe could do that tomorrow. I'm sure it'll be exciting. Huh? No. I'm actually bad with that sort of thing. You're terrible when it comes to ad-lib. Maybe I should have you overcome that for your next task. I'll try? I'm not gonna do this for everything, so... We talked to the people that we needed to talk to. Velvet floors and high-class furniture, a room decorated by antiquated works of art. The lavishness of the room made it clear to Riho and Manabe that this is a room for accommodating guests. This here is the parlor, but... there's someone here. True to Kana's word, a man clad in a suit is sitting in the parlor. Hearing Kana's voice, the man hurriedly stood up and approached them. Miss Kana, there's someone here. That's a bit rude, don't you think? We promised to meet today and draft your latest work's plot. Just where have you been all this time? Oh, sorry. I completely forgot and went out for a walk. A walk? I mean, look at the weather. It's such a nice day. Kana's explanation made the man's expression contort with suppressed annoyance, but she didn't seem to care and turned to face Riho. Oh, let me introduce you. This is my editor from my publisher in Tokyo. His name is... Ryogo Ezuno. Right, Ezuno. That was your name, right. I was only assigned to Miss Kana this spring, so she hasn't quite memorized my name yet. Ezuno grumbles with a somewhat stiff smile. Riho exchanges greetings with him with a hint of sympathy before leaving the parlor. So your study is in this building, Miss Kana? Of course! Want to check it out? Yes, I'd love to! Wow, she didn't even stop to think. I don't mind you seeing it, but, huh? You don't have to if it's a bother. No, my study's on the 3rd floor, and the passageway to the 3rd floor is a secret. So, I'm gonna need you to put these on. Kana hands the two of them a pair of eye masks. It seems she wants them to go there blindfolded. Eye masks. I feel like some kind of celebrity that got snatched away by a variety show. Riho and Manabe have their eyes covered and walk slowly and carefully with Kana pulling them by the arm. It might be a bit cramped. Also, there's a step. Whoa, walking around blind is pretty scary. Clank. Something bumps against Riho's shoulder. Huh? What was that? What happened? I don't know, but something bumped into me. Don't mind that. Just keep going. This is scary. I'm scared. The next moment, Riho's body is overcome by a familiar sensation of floating. This is an elevator moving, right? Alright, here we are. You can take them off now. So bright. The two take off their masks, and an even more decorated floor than the one below entered their field of vision. This is the third floor where my study is. I don't usually let people go up here, though. I can't believe I get to be here. This is a dream come true. Alright, let me show you around. This is my study. This is Kana-Tsuse's study. Hey, Manabe, stop gasping like a pervert. But, I mean, it's Kana-Tsuse. It's her study. This is where she wrote even when satisfied, and endless dance. Actually, this place is newly built, so I wrote my older novels in a different house. Kana-Tsuse just retorted at me. I'm so happy. You're pretty funny, Manabe. Can I write that down for a future reference? She's not usually like this.
Again, sorry. This is mostly a female cast, so the variety in my voices is not going to be all that well.
Do you use this PC to write? Yep. Until 5 years ago, I was still into writing by hand, but I switched to a PC because it's more convenient.
That's interesting. I know writers who who generally write up on typewriters that are now making the switch over to PCs because it's easier to be able to save all their work and delete things.
I can look up stuff on the fly while working too.
Oh, fun fact, when I was first going through this, when I was first going through this game and was like trying to look up some stuff because I wanted to, like, I got stuck at a certain spot. It's well past here, but while I was looking it up, this thing right here, they called it a mini elevator. I don't know what the term exactly is, but it's like the thing that you see at like some pharmacies or banks that has like a tube canister that you put stuff in. And it's a tube that goes back and forth. That's like, I don't think those are actually called mini elevators, but I could be wrong. I've just never heard the term referred to those before. Let's take a look at some books. Look at all those books. Sorry for the noise, guys.
That's just some of the books I have. Having too much material here makes a mess. Just some of it? Authors are like that. You're an actress, so you probably have a complicated book or two for acting, right? Huh? Sure I do. I can't tell her I've only got movies. That pipe thing over there, is that a heater? Oh, that's a pneumatic system. Have you heard of it? Pneumatic? Maybe you saw it in old movies. It uses air pressure to send capsules between rooms through the pipes. There's a reference room downstairs, so I have documents sent up to me using the pneumatic system. Can't you just use a little elevator? But I like the sci-fi sort of thing better. I get what you mean. These kind of gadgets feel like old-style sci-fi. It's great. Exactly. You get it. Yes. Well, she's so happy Kana complimented her. A pneumatic system, huh? I wonder how it works. Want to send a capsule and see? With that said, Kana places a capsule in the pipe's opening and closes the door. She then presses a red button nearby and... whoosh. Ah! The capsule slides down with the sound of air being sucked. So it's like this, and it climbs up from below the same way. This is really cool, right? A bit of playfulness helps me keep my study fresh while I work. So, this is Hiro's room, but she's preparing the party right now, so she's out. The manager's room? It's very neat and tidy. Just what I'd expect from your manager. Yeah, she's such a dependable girl. I trust her with everything. I don't know what I'd do if she left. So, you and Hiroko live together here? Yeah, I mean, no. Actually, there's someone else living here, but she doesn't usually go outside. She should come to the party tomorrow, so I'll introduce you to her then. It kinda looked like she hesitated to mention it. I wonder if there's something weird about that person.
Oh, give me a second, guys. I will be right back. Alright, back. Sorry about that, guys.
And this is my bathroom. It's so big!
Kana stands proudly before her spacious bathroom. The bathroom is white and clean-looking, and an eagle relief built. The bathroom is white and clean-looking, and an eagle relief built into the pillars lords over the otherwise quiet room imposingly.
I can't imagine taking such a nice, calm bath with this realistic eagle standing there.
Despite being called a relief, it was very well made. Its piercing gaze seems to glare at whoever is in the room as if they were prey.
It's a jacuzzi bath. It feels really nice. Wow, even your bathroom is first class, Miss Kana. Now then, that's the third floor. I'd love to show you the view from the rooftop, but it's already dark out. You can go out to the roof from here? Yeah, but you gotta solve a little trick to get to the roof. Kana winks and smiles mischievously. Anyway, I should be getting back to work. Can you two put on the eye masks again? I'll take you downstairs. Yeah.
Oh, nuts. I missed out on a thing, I think.
I messed up. Oh well. The two of them put on the eye masks again, cloaking the world with darkness. Kana takes them by the hand and leads them back. So I'm pretty sure I missed out on the thing. After parting from Kana, the two returned to the guest room that's been allotted to them. They were given time to do as they pleased until tomorrow's party, and so the two took a shower and spent their time relaxing. Wow! Today was a day and a half. I'll probably sleep like a rock tonight. Really? Well, I'm probably too excited to sleep. I still can't believe I was invited to visit Kana Utsuse's house. It's like a dream come true. Miss Kana, she's as eccentric as you'd expect being a best-selling author to be. Expect a best-selling author to be. By the way, didn't Miss Kana say there was some secret trick to this room? What do you think she meant by that? I don't know. Hey, let's investigate it! There you go again. You'd be better off if you didn't stick your nose where it doesn't belong. It is too where it belongs. The fact that she went as far as to tell us there's a secret here means she wants us to solve it. In other words, this is a challenge from the mystery author Kana Utsuse, right? It does pique my interest when you put it like that. Right? Let's figure this out before you go to bed! Whoosh, 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 whoosh. Hello? Riho strikes a few poses in front of the mirror. My skin looks great today, and my figure's on point as always. Weren't you checking the room for secrets? Right. Riho peeks into the small window. A small exclamation then escapes her lips. Huh? But hey, there's a small room of some kind back there. A small room? Yeah, it was all dark when I looked during the day, but there, see it? Manabe checks the window as well. Apparently, the lights were on during nighttime. The lights were on during nighttime and shined into the room, making it so the room was only visible during the nighttime. I see. It's set up so you can't see it unless the lights are on. There's something in there. There's a small table in the room, and on it sits a transparent pouch with a ribbon attached to it. At a second glance, the pouch contained a high-class cosmetic set. And below it was a gift card that said, "Dear guests, please help yourselves to this." Ah, that's that cosmetic set. It's one of those Aobe ones that are all the rage right now. It's super expensive. Miss Kana has great taste. But wait, how are we supposed to get it? There's no door leading to the room. Who knows? I don't care for cosmetics either way, so I'm not interested in it. What? Don't you want it? It's an Aobe cosmetics kit. They're all sold out and really hard to find. My skin dries when I don't use the kind of cosmetics I'm used to. Oh, I see. But it's apparently signed by Miss Kana. At those words, Manabe's expression completely changes. At all costs. We have to get it at all costs, Riho! Manabe, that's not what you said a minute ago. I changed my mind. No matter what, even if it costs me my life. That's heavy. It's just a cosmetic set, you know? Shut up! Less lip flapping, more room investigating! Yes, ma'am. Right away! Riho looks at the mirror next to the small window. It looked like an ordinary dresser mirror, but there were chafing marks on the floor around it. Maybe... Riho applies some force to the mirror, which slides inward. I knew it. The mirror moves. She slides the mirror the whole way, revealing a hidden door behind it. There it is! I found the entrance! Great work, Riho! Now we can get into the room! Manabe grabs the doorknob vigorously, but... Huh? Twist the knob though she might, the door doesn't open. Wow, look at her go. Manabe wheels around and glares at Riho. It won't open! Yes? Huh? Wait, what is this? Riho hurries to the door and examines it fixedly, but then the words escape her lips. It's a relief. Huh? A relief? This isn't a door. It's an elaborate carving that's fixed to the wall. Dummy trap. That's what I'd expect, Miss Kana. Let's look for another way in. Yeah, but maybe the trick is that there's no way of getting to it. A mystery author would never do something that unfair. There has to be some kind of way. Yeah, you're right. Let's do this. Peeking into the window, they can see a small room with a pouch containing a cosmetic set. It almost looks like it's in arm's reach, but I can't get it. Ugh, this is annoying. She could somehow imagine Kana watching over her as she floundered around in confusion. I'll definitely get that thing. There has to be it somewhere. Let's look more carefully. I have to get it, no matter what. It'll be my family treasure. Why do I get the feeling she won't let me use it? Maybe we can't go into that little room from this room. She wouldn't say it's a present if that was the case. But even with that said, Riho and Manabe have inspected anything that looks even remotely suspicious. We'll be here until the party, so we can check it out later. No, what if it's set up so we can only get in there today? Come on, I'm tired. Riho gives a large stretch, as if to relax her shoulders. Let me take a break. With that said, Riho leans against a nearby wall with her body. With that said, Riho leans against a nearby wall when her body sinks into the wall. Ouch! Wait, where am I? Riho, what happened? Manabe looks around, but Riho is nowhere in sight. She disappeared the moment Manabe took her eyes off her. Hey, over here! She could hear Riho's voice somewhere. Manabe looks into the direction of her voice, only to find Riho waving toward her from inside the window. Riho, how did you get in there? It turns out that wall over there rotates when you push it. Manabe follows that instruction and pushes the wall with her hands. And, like a trick from a ninja's hideout, the wall rotates. I never imagined that there would be a hidden door there. The door at the mirror was a total red herring. And now I've got the cosmetic set. Man, I can't wait to try it out. Riho enthusiastically reaches for the cosmetics, only for her hand to get slapped away. What are you saying? It's obvious Kana's signature is more important than the cosmetics. I'll be taking care of this. Thank you very much. Just take it back after I'm done with it. No, the value might go down if you leave finger marks on them. That's awful. I'm an actress, you know. After that, the signed cosmetics were left under Manabe's watchful gaze. And needless to say, after having been forbidden from even laying a finger on them, Riho could only weep bitter tears. This is, I think, the if you put the other games, if you put the other ones into like if you put Yagamo parts 3 and 4 like into the separate parts that they are, I think that this is the second longest act of this entire game. The following day turns to night. Riho and Manabe enter the party hall a bit before the event begins. The place is adorned with brilliant decorations, and welcome drinks are handed out to the guests who are chatting among themselves. I was a bit nervous, but it looks like coming in casual clothes was fine. Manabe sighs in relief as she looks around the other guests' attires. Told you, Kana said it was a casual party just for her friends, and that meant we can come dressed casual. You say that, but I have enough experiences of not reading the mood and coming with an outfit that embarrassed us in front of everyone. especially in parties where you can meet nice men. Everyone says you can come casual and then dress up like it's prom night. Oh yeah, that totally happens. I've had that happen to me. While the two speak near the entrance, Hiroko approaches them, carrying a tray of welcome drinks. Thank you for participating despite the short notice, you two. Have a welcome drink if you'd like. Oh, thank you. We appreciate the offer. The two take up glasses full of pink champagne and then ask Hiroko something after looking around the room. I see everyone's not here yet. Probably because it's still early. No, actually, all the invited guests are accounted for. Huh? Then it's a really small party considering it's hosted by a famous author. We'll have a bigger party sponsored by the publisher next month in Tokyo. Today's party really is just for Kana's close circle. I mean, inviting people over to the middle of nowhere is bothersome on its own, right? Oh, I guess it is a bit inconvenient, yeah. Let me see if I can do them right. Hiroko, who's that over there? They turn their gazes toward a young man standing alone in one of the corners, sipping from his glass. The moment Hiroko lays eyes on him, her expression clouds over. Sorry, I really hate that I have to keep doing this. This one actually is an important call coming in, so I gotta go take that. I will be back as soon as I can. Sorry about that. I really hate when that has to happen. Just some important stuff that I needed to deal with. Anyway, the moment Hiroko lays eyes on him, her expression clouds over. Oh, that over there is Soichi. Soichi. While spacious, this hall was still an estate's parlor. It wasn't possible for him not to hear Hiroko's call, but the man called Soichi simply gazes in their direction and then looks away. I guess not, huh? Is he one of the guests? No, he's a relative of Kana, her younger brother. He's an artist, but he always shuts himself off in his room. Oh, so he's shy. Oh, I guess that is what it boils down to. He's a bit antisocial, so it's hard for him to find normal work, so Miss Kana lets him live here. I see. There are apparently some family issues involved. Riho and Manabe decided not to ask about him any further. Yeah. Trying to get comfy in this stupid chair is... Shit. Oh no. I don't know how long I was muted. Well, log. So just so we go as far back as possible, we go over here. The moment Hiroko lays eyes on him, her expression clouds over. Oh, that over there is... Soichi! Soichi! While spacious, this was still in the estate's parlor. It wasn't possible for him not to hear Hiroko's call, but the man called Soichi simply gazes in their direction and then looks away. Oh, I guess not, huh? Is he one of the guests? No, he's a relative of Kana, her younger brother. He's an artist, but he always shuts himself off in his room. Oh, so he's shy. Well, I guess that is what it boils down to. He's a bit antisocial, so it makes it hard for him to find a normal work. So Miss Kana lets him live here. I see. There are apparently some family issues involved. Riho and Manabe decided not to ask about him any further. And then we got over here to talk to him. Hello there. We meet again today. Ezuno greets him with a somewhat awkward smile. He looks a bit pale. You said yesterday you had a meeting with Miss Kana yesterday. Did it go well? No, I'm afraid she bailed on me. Oh, well, that sounds... Bail like a gray whale! Huh? I told you to stop it with the trashy puns. I wonder if that's why he's so pale. Poor guy. One more moment. Alright. That should hopefully be it for at least this hour. Because I don't expect any more calls until... I don't expect any more calls for another hour at least. A woman that looked to be about her 50s and dressed with pretty decorations suddenly walked up to them. My, I believe this is the first time I've seen you two. Hello, I'm Riho, an actress. This is my manager, Manabe. A pleasure. I'm Shogo Manabe. An actress, eh? I'm Shiho Tomizawa. Perhaps you've heard of me. From Riho's experience, these kinds of people react badly to being told you haven't heard of them. Riho was at a loss as to how to answer, but was soon given some timely help. Of course we have. I quite enjoyed reading your airplane timetable mystery series. Ah, have you now? My, it's always such a pleasure to meet a reader. Yes, indeed. My works aren't aimed for as wide an audience as Kana's, but I do have avid fans among those who enjoy mystery novels. Tomizawa seems quite satisfied by Manabe's answer, much to Riho's relief. Thank God Manabe knows her. She looks like some kind of veteran author, but she doesn't sell as much as Kana. That's the kind of person that's looking to pick fights. By the way, what made you decide to become Kana's manager? Me? I guess we were kind of inseparable friends. We were part of the same mystery club when we were at school, and that's where we met. And before we knew it, we somehow ended up being friends. Yes. There was a time when I thought of tricks and wanted to write mystery novels too. It's a good thing I gave it up and became a manager instead. So you've known Miss Kana since before her debut? I wonder how much of her work can be credited to you. Who's to say? I mostly look after her. She's terrible at looking after herself, you know. My, us managers need people like her, who have talent but aren't motivated to do much else to exist. Manabe nods in satisfaction, seeming awfully convinced by Hiroko's words. Does Manabe really think I'm that awful at taking care of myself? Why, hello everyone! Thank you for waiting! A lively voice calls out as the chef Kano enters, pushing a trolley loaded with food. Kano moves the plates in the trolley to the table with practiced. Moves the plates from the trolley to the tables with practiced motions. Whoa, it looks great! But Miss Kana's not here yet. They couldn't start eating with the host absent from the party. Riho and the rest of the participants in the party look around anxiously, unsure what to do, when the lights illuminating the parlor go out at once. Huh? A blackout? Riho, are you there? It's dangerous, so stay put. The guests raise their voices in surprise at the darkness enveloping the room. And, as if to drive the final nail, a bursting sound rings out. Pop! A high-pitched noise echoes through the room. The scent of gunpowder fills Riho's nose. And then, a single spotlight illuminates the stage in the back of the parlor. Everyone, thank you for coming here today. Raising her hands like a magician, Kana appears and greets everyone with a wide smile. Now, let's have some fun tonight. After a moment of silence, the guests shower her with applause. Kana gives a satisfied smile at seeing her surprise was as effective. Let's try that line again. Kana gives a satisfied smile at seeing her surprise was as effective as she had expected, and walks off the stage. Kana, how did you appear on the stage like that? Yes, we were next to the entrance, but you just appeared on the stage in the blink of an eye without us noticing. They likely felt the same way that moment. They approach Kana at once and ask her about her mysterious appearance. With that wonderful surprise to knock things off, the party begins in earnest. An hour after the party's beginning, Everyone already had a round of food and were now mainly focusing on the alcohol. As soon as the toast was raised, everyone, excluding Soichi, who had gone off somewhere, surrounded Kana, who was chattering excitedly. But my, the wind sure is blowing strong tonight. The windows have been shaking a great deal for a while now. At nights like this, the god Kaniago might go out in search of prey. Kaniago? I've never heard of a god by that name. And that's because he's not featured in the ancient texts. But it's a very scary god. Yes, a very scary god. That sounds interesting. Can you tell us more? Sure. Listen closely, then, to this tale of the terrible god worshipped in this land Iwami. With her suggestive tone, Kana draws the attention of not just Kono, but everyone present. Looking around to confirm that her words had the desired effect, Kana continues with her story. Well, you see, Kaniako is a bit of an odd deity that favors corpses. Most kami in Japan abhor corpses, since they're tainted, right? But Kaniago is a god that brings up fortune to those who offer to hang corpses. Those who worshipped this deity were said to hang corpses along the walls of its place of worship. Corpses? And in doing so, that deity allowed for more efficient mining of silver. Silver? Do you mean? Yes. In other words, this deity was worshipped in this land, where the Iwami silver mine is. But that mine has long since been closed. With no one left to offer it corpses, it is said Kaniago flies through the mountains in search of new sacrifices, growling and howling. There, can you hear it? The sound of Kaniago's howl as it seeks sacrifice, mingled with the sounds of the storm. A chilling silence settles over the party room. And indeed, they can swear they heard something else mingled with the sounds of the wind rattling the windows. But then, Kana switched over to a cheerful smile. Well, that's just an old legend passed down. Yep, just a legend, a folktale. Right, it's just a legend. Indeed. Now then, everyone, let's switch gears and have some dessert. I'll go get it ready. Oh, that sounds good. I'm craving a bit of sweet right now. Everyone starts talking at once, perhaps hoping to dispel the frightening atmosphere left in the wake of Kana's ghost story. Oh, that was scary. It really fit the situation somehow. That's a mystery author for you. She knows how to tell a story. She gets straight A's in that. But that story was pretty disturbing. Jeez. Ow. Okay. Okay. I'll settle back in. You think? Those kinds of theatrical legends are par for the course in mystery stories. Well, that entrance certainly was definitely theatrical. It was. How did she appear on stage like that? Manabe's words prompted Riho to ponder that question. But she soon turned to Manabe with a mischievous smile. Say, you want to investigate the trick behind her entrance? We can try, but do you think it'll be that easy to figure out? I don't know, but it felt like Kana issued us a challenge with that performance. We can burn time until dessert's ready, right? A challenge. When you say it like that, it piques my interest as an avid reader. Let's do it. All right, let's solve this baby then. Gee, I wonder. Earlier, Kono used this trolley to carry in the food. All the food's already on the tables, so there's nothing left on the trolley. Why though? Something feels off. examines the trolley again. Riho felt something was strange about the trolley since earlier, and she sinks into thought so as to figure out what it is. Her face then lights up. Hey, isn't it weird that the trolley was just left here? What do you mean? No, I mean, it's a bad spot if you want to move the dishes to the table, and it's standing in an oddly slanted position. Kono is a skilled, fancy chef, so I can't imagine him leaving the trolley carelessly like this. I see. That is strange. An idea flashes through Riho's mind. Obeying the gut feeling, she flips up the fabric covering the trolley's trunk. Ah, there's a partition board inside the trolley. I knew it. Moving aside the partition board, Riho reveals a space just large enough to contain a person. I see. So Miss Kano went in here and had Kono carry her over here. Yep, and when the guests were all distracted, she snuck out of the trolley and waited for the blackout to step up to the stage. That's what I'd expect from Miss Kana. She never neglects to surprise people. She takes it too far. She put a secret door in our guest room and had us walk around with eye masks. It's a bit too high on the weirdo scale for me. That's a first-rate mystery author's idea of courtesy. Bye. Let's leave it at that. Let's check with Kana and see if we got it right. Yes, let's... Manabe exclaims as she looks around the parlor curiously. Kana had disappeared from the room at some point, and the other guests noticed this and were whispering nervously. I haven't seen Kana for a while now. It's been over an hour, a bit long as bathroom breaks go. True, she did have a lot to drink, so maybe she felt so queasy she retired to her room to rest. Hey, that's not right! She was supposed to have a meeting with me after this party! If I don't have that meeting with her today, my editor-in-chief will kill me! I understand. I'll go look for her. So you wait in the reception room. Everyone else too. It's getting late, so you may retire to the rooms we've prepared for you whenever you want. Hiroko says with a bow and leaves the parlor. Well, with Miss Kana gone, I believe we can call it a night. Yes, it was quite fun, but staying late would be bad for my skin. Following her, the guests began to go back to their rooms. It looks like they're wrapping it up, so let's head back to our room as well. Yeah, like Miss Tomizawa said, staying up too late wouldn't be good for our skin. And with this, the party concludes, and Riho returns to her room. Ah! As soon as they returned to her room, Riho lets out a weird scream. Riho apparently carelessly leaned against the wall, causing the revolver trick door to rotate. What are you doing? You knew there was a hidden door there. Completely forgot. Man, maybe I should stick a warning to the wall so I can prevent this from happening again. But we don't have any tape on us. Sure we do. We have your push-up tape. How do you know about that? I saw it in your bag when you took out your cell phone. My, I never knew you were at an age where you were careful about drooping skin. Riho, when we get back to Tokyo, I'll be filling up your schedule with workshops. Oh, no. And here we go. After apologizing earnestly to Manabe, she used her push-up tape to, she took her push-up tape and used it to plaster a warning written in permanent marker on the wall. Now I won't forget about it and lean against that wall, Manabe. Huh? You still mad at me? Shh. I've been hearing this weird noise for a while now. Weird noise? Yeah, like some kind of low growling. A low growling sound could be heard. Come on, you're not gonna trick me with that. After cracking that little joke, Riho listens carefully. When suddenly she did faintly hear a low growling sound. I really wish they would actually replay those bits there. I do hear it. This is real. There's a really weird growling out there. Right? It's coming from Outside the window. It doesn't sound like the wind. No way. Maybe it's that thing Kana mentioned. The god Kaniago? It can't be. That's just a legend. But we're definitely hearing that growling. And can you hear it? It's getting closer. Kaniago was now wandering the mountains in search of sacrifice. The two exchanged silent glances at as Kana's words surfaced in their minds. The sound of a knock echoes through the room, making the two of them jolt. Riho replies while stifling her agitation and opens the door to reveal Hiroko, who is standing there pale. Thank goodness you two are still awake. What are you doing here this late at night? I can't find Kana. She's nowhere in the estate. Huh? She's nowhere in the estate. What could that mean? I don't know. She won't pick up her cell phone, so I thought we should look outside the estate. Could you help me out? Riho and Manabe. Blah, 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 blah. Riho and Manabe unflinchingly nod and agree to help, rising to their feet with grave expressions. A few minutes later, Riho and Manabe meet with the other people gathered for the search and walk down the Capricious Hall's driveway. The others are everyone who had retired to their rooms after the party, with the exception of Soichi. It's a dark, twining path without any lighting, and everyone was given flashlights to search it with. Do you really think Miss Kana would go outside this late at night? I don't know, but she wasn't inside, so... My word! Why must that girl always cause such a fuss? There's a lot of animal trails in this area. I can't imagine her going here when it's this dark outside. We're just checking to be on the safe side. Let's split up and check the trails. Yes, let's divide into groups here and check. As everyone splits up, Riho searches with Manabe, pointing the flashlight to light up the area. If this was a horror movie, the monster would jump out right about now. That's not funny. It almost feels like it might really happen. Or more like, whatever made that growling we heard in our room might come out. I can't hear it at all, now that you mention it. It's so quiet. There's no wind right now either. Wait, so that wasn't the wind? It was really Kaniago? No way. Both of their flashlights intersected, lighting the darkness, but there was no sign of Kana. What was that? Manabe, there's something there. Miss Kana, is that you? They slowly approach a thicket. Manabe reaches into the bushes, when... a cat leaps out of the thicket. A cat? This really is like some kind of B-movie. But the real monster usually comes after this. I hate that it does it like that. A gruesome scream echoes through the area. That was so quiet. I have the sound effect volume. Like, let's put this up higher then. I can't believe that it did that. I can't believe that it didn't do that. That was so quiet. What now? That was Hiroko. I think it came from over there. Let's go. The unusual scream came from a hollow located near the Capricious Hall. Said hollow is an old tunnel, one of several entrances to the Iwami silver mine. And near the entrance sits the hunched figure of a person. Hiroko, what happened? Ana. Kana was inside the hollow, but she was all too different. Kana! Kana!
見つかったの
Did you find her? Huh? Everyone else gathers around and falls into shocked silence at the sight. Kana lay near the hollow's entrance. Her skin was terribly white and pallid.
どいて
Step aside! Tomizawa pushes Hiroko aside and rushes to Kana's body. She presses a hand against her neck and carefully checks for a pulse. No, it can't be.
嘘かな先生
Is
は
she? Tomizawa shook her head silently.
嘘だ
It can't be. No, but it's
先
Kana.
生が
I can't. I mess up his voice. I'm sorry. A deep silence fell over the hollow. Everyone is rendered speechless by what just transpired. Every now and then, the hot wind rising up from the hollow rustles the trees. Riho then sees Tomizawa, who had apparently come to her senses, pull out a cell phone to call the police. We should investigate as much as we can before the police show up. That tree. There are some fresh marks around the base of the trunk. It's like something was rubbed against it, but it's cut pretty deep into the trunk. There are scratch marks on the tree near the corpse. What is this? I don't know, but something feels off. Hiroko had sunk to the ground and is looking at Kana's body in a daze. Even in the darkness of the night, Riho could tell her otherwise still form was shivering every now and then. Riho gazes at the corpse's head, wincing at the sight of its agonized expression. Withstanding the urge to throw up, she gently inspects the body from below, discovering some scars and lacerations at the back of her neck. Those are rope marks. Someone strangled her. The lacerations are probably because she clawed at her throat while she was suffocating. The rocks around the hollow are glistening with night dew. It's hard to say for certain with just the flashlights, but there doesn't seem to be any signs of blood or struggle around here. Riho strains her eyes, looking at the dead body's limp arms. It's hard to tell over the manicure, but there's some blood stuck behind her nails. Was this when she was trying to fight off the killer? Or maybe... As far as I can see, someone strangled Miss Kana. That's all I can tell so far. Riho is convinced for the time being and moves away from the body. It's then that the sound of a patrol car's siren reaches her ears. Manabe. Manabe, listen to me. Manabe! Huh? Manabe's eyes widen as Riho shakes her shoulders. Manabe, are you alright? It looks like you had a nightmare. Manabe feels Riho's concerned eyes on her. Guided by that gaze, Manabe rises from her bed. It's morning. Yeah, you were moaning back there, so I was worried. I just had a bit of a bad dream. I'm fine now. Yeah, that's good. After a while, Manabe washes her face and fixes her clothes, going back to her normal, snappy self. Alright, we're looking good. Let's go. Some people from the police showed up earlier and said everyone needs to gather in the parlor. Right, the police. So what happened last night wasn't a dream. Yeah, having that happen to someone you care about so much must be terrible. I'll be fine. I was a big fan of Miss Kana, that's true. But before that, I'm your manager. Smiling back at Manabe, who regained her calm manager's demeanor, Riho leaves the room with her. Apparently, Riho and Manabe were the last ones to arrive. The other guests were already gathered in the parlor, and the party was held in. The other guests were already gathered in the parlor the party was held in. Everyone was visibly anxious. Several officers and a detective enter the room, as if they'd been waiting for them to arrive. The moment she sees the detective's face, Riho exclaims with surprise. Huh? Inspector Manba, is that you?
Oh, you're Riho, and Miss Manabe too. What are you two doing here?
We met Miss Kana by coincidence yesterday, and she invited us over.
I see. Even if it was a coincidence, you two have a knack for getting caught up in these kinds of situations. But we can talk later. I have to get to work for now.
Right. Manba's expression hardens as he turns to face the guests.
Yes, I'm Toshiro Manba from the Metropolitan Public Security Bureau. I will be in charge of investigating this incident. Are all the people involved here?
Everyone looks at each other, prompted by that question. Hiroko then raises her voice nervously. Soichi isn't here yet. I did tell him to come, but...
Soichi? Soichi, who is that again? Oh, the victim's younger brother, yes?
Mamba speaks while flipping through his memo pad, and Hiroko nods in affirmation.
Then we'll speak to him separately later. Anyway, for now, the victim's cause of death is clear. Asphyxiation due to suffocation. The estimated time of death is last night, around 10 p.m. Or, if I want to do it right, the estimated time of death is last night, around 2200.
Which is 10 p.m. Suffocation? Something about what Mamba said came across as odd to Riho. He should have seen the rope marks too. So why did he call it suffocation instead of strangulation? But while Riho's mind was churning, Mamba kept on speaking.
Yes, so with that in mind, so as hard as it is to say this, all of you who were in this estate yesterday are currently suspects. Only potential suspects, of course, but we ask you to cooperate with the investigation going forward. And also, please refrain from going out until you have our permission to do so.
Everyone started murmuring at Manba's words. No! I have to go back to Tokyo as soon as possible! That's right! I need to get back to my writing or I might miss my deadline.
And I have my store to attend to. Silence, please. Silence, everyone. We intend to conclude this investigation and lift your restrictions as fast as possible, so please, cooperate with us. I believe I will be calling on you all personally later, so please keep what I've said now in mind.
Wait just a moment! Having relayed all the necessary information, Manda exits the parlor hurriedly. Left in his wake are everyone else, filled with anxiety and displeasure. Manabe, didn't what Mamba said back there feel off to you? What do you mean? I saw rope marks on the corpse when I checked it yesterday. That means Kana was strangled by some kind of wire or rope. But he said suffocation. Normally you'd assume he'd call it strangulation, or suicide by hanging. Right, that's what felt off to me. We should ask Mamba about it later. Yeah, let's do that. My word! Why do we have to be confined to this place? This is absurd. I agree, especially since the time of death was at 10 o'clock. We were still at the party at the time, so maybe it wasn't done by any of us. Perhaps Miss Kana wandered outside and was accosted by a burglar. I don't know about that. I can't imagine someone just passed by and did the act.
What do you mean?
I mean, this is a remote place, and it was nighttime without any illumination outside. Can you imagine someone just walking by in here?
I suppose that's true.
It seems much more likely that one of us snuck out of the parlor and did the deed. And I do believe all of us left for the restroom for a few minutes at one point or another. But it's all absurd! None of us have any reason to kill Miss Kana! Who's to say? For example, you always seem so neurotic, as if Kana always throttled you about with her frivolous attitude. A grudge, perhaps? What do you say? If anyone's suspicious, it would be... Yes? What about me? You being Miss Kana, who eclipsed you in both sales and reviews despite being younger. What? How rude! Calm down, you two. Suspecting each other now won't do us any good. Mystery Zono, I do believe you went too far. You're the same age and profession as her, Miss Hiroko. And with Miss Kana dead, the copyrights will be transferred to you. I would never kill Miss Kana for something like that. I wonder. Riho watches over the unsightly exchange from a distance and sighs. Staying away was a good idea. Saved us the trouble of getting caught up in that. It really did. The anxiety must be making them act like that. So, what do we do? You recorded the party last night, right, Riho? Yes. I thought it might be nice to commemorate it. I left it running on the shelf, though, so it only has footage of 1 point. Well, that could be useful. Let's check it out. The estimated time of death was 10 o'clock, so let's confirm who excused themselves at that time. Yes, I see. Yes, I understand. Alright, let's go back to our room then. Having returned to their room, the two immediately play the video. The estimated time of death was 10 p.m. So let's check the footage just before and after that time. I'm just gonna start saying 2200. Let me get the hour of the footage then. It's long, so I'll fast forward through it at times 3 speed. Yeah, that sounds about right. Soichi. He left as soon as Miss Kana did the toast. He's Miss Kana's younger brother. They said he's an artist who's very bad with people. I suppose he didn't want to be part of even an event like this. But we had the toast at 20:30, so he has no alibi for Miss Kana's estimated time of death, 8:30, by the way. I suppose that's what it means. But Kana was his sister, and she supported him when he couldn't make a living. I suppose that's true, but we can't make assumptions about him when we haven't even spoken to him once. Maybe he has a complex over how successful his sister was. Talking about hypotheticals won't get us anywhere. We should talk to him later. Right, let's do that. Tomizawa left the room a few times. She left once after Miss Kana went out too. She left 4 times or so, but all of them were only for a few minutes, so she probably went to the bathroom or to fix her makeup. Yeah, I can't imagine she murdered someone in just a couple of minutes. You would be surprised. Well, you wouldn't normally assume it's possible. You know what, I'll just keep going with this. So, Kana left at about 21:30, and she didn't come back after that. Yes, she told us about Kaniago, and left the parlor while we were checking the trolley. We went out to look for Miss Kana and found her body at 2300, right? What exactly happened in that time frame? What was Miss Kana even doing there? It's like Tomizawa said. It was nighttime and without any lights. Why go there without a flashlight? Well, even without a flashlight, she could use her cell phone for light. That doesn't explain what she was doing there. Oh, that didn't disappear. Is that just a continuous one? Yeah, that's a continuous one. The footage shows that Hiroko left the party once. After Miss Kana left, Hiroko went out for 15 minutes. Maybe she went to check on her because she was gone for too long. That seems likely, but after coming back, she hadn't left the room until the party broke up. Kono was the one that left the room the most often, but that makes sense since he was setting the table. Right. Whenever he came back, he was pushing the trolley with the dishes, so it's safe to assume he was preparing it when he went out of the room. So, Izono is Miss Kana's editor, right? Apparently. But I think seeing the author he's in charge of dying was a huge shock. I wouldn't be able to take it. What? Why are you staring at me? I just thought, wow, she really loves me, huh? Manabe cocks her head quizzically, unable to understand what Riho was getting at. But upon having come to some conclusion, Manabe's face flushes red. What? No, I didn't mean it like that. I guess we'll leave it at that. Hey. Anyway, it looks like Izono didn't leave the party even once. Apparently he didn't need to go to the bathroom. Well, he hardly got anything to drink. Well, I guess he abstained from drinking since he had a meeting scheduled after the party. Right. Being an editor sounds tough. Okay, so almost everyone had times when they were out of the parlor, but it was always 15 minutes at most. And to get back here from the hollow when Kana died, and to get back from here to the hollow Kana died in, I think you'd have to walk for 20 minutes, maybe 10 if you ran. In other words, none of the people in this estate could have killed Kana. I'd like to say that, but the only exception is Soichi. Oh, right. Soichi left early, but there's another possibility. What other possibility? Well, it's possible someone could have killed Kana after she left the parlor, and then carried her over to the hollow. Hang on, my throat's... Alright, sorry. Needed to have a larger drink of water and get you guys to hear that. We only went out when she left her. We only went out to look for her an hour after the party ended. That's plenty of time to carry her corpse over there. I see. But, you know, carrying a dead body that far is pretty hard labor. We didn't hear any cars, so it's unlikely they took her there that way. Maybe a bicycle towing a cart or a trailer? Those aren't suited for carrying a body. But there is another option. There is? What? Tell me! I mean, maybe the god Kaniago snatched the body away. What? Cut that out! No scary stories! But it does fit her story about Kaniago perfectly. And the hollow we found her in is an entrance to the mine it's related to. And we heard that growling and howling last night. Nope, that's a big no. Anything that looks supernatural at first sight always has a rational explanation. Right. I guess I'm still just shocked. Now I'm starting to have weird delusions. You know what'll clear those right up? Investigating the hell out of this case. A huge fan like you should avenge Kana's death. You're right. Yes, you're right. Let's go. With Riho to cheer her on, Manabe leaves the room. Just go to Tomizawa, I like doing her voice. They arrive in Shiho Tomizawa's room. Riho finds her sitting in deep contemplation. You need something? Oh, I just wanted to ask you for your thoughts about Miss Kana's death. It saddens me. We were always close. I felt like that I often took care of that one as she grew into an author. I see. Except, with this, Kana's property goes to Soichi. Huh? I hear they have no other relatives. And I'm sorry about what happened at the parlor earlier. I said things that made everyone anxious and agitated. I don't know what came over me. Not at all. Everyone was on edge as it was, for good reason. Yes, that's quite right. I was quite confused and angry as well. It's all clear now, after I've taken some quiet time to think things over. What do you mean? Soichi did it. None of the people in the party had the time to go to the hollow and kill Kana. It was impossible to kill Kana and carry her over to the hollow. A round trip to the hollow where we found the body would take 40 minutes, and none of the people in the party were gone for that long. I guess that's a mystery element for you. So she noticed that too. Yes, the footage I took proves that. Right? In other words, everyone that were in the party has an alibi. And Soichi had the inheritance matter as a motive, and no alibi since he wasn't in the party with us. No one but him could have killed Kana. But there's not enough to say Soichi's the killer for sure. What? Are you siding with him? He has the inheritance as a motive and no alibi for the crime. No, it's just... that's circumstantial evidence. You can't just pin the blame on Soichi with that. That'd be awful. I see. Then let me tell you this then. I have one more bit of proof that he's the killer. Proof? When we gathered in the parlor after we found Kana's body, I saw it. And there was something that looked like red blood on his sleeves. I mean, he was wearing red. Something that looked like blood was splashed on Soichi's sleeve. Huh? Blood? Yes, it must have splattered on him when he killed Kana. He tried to hide it, but I happened to see it when he was heading back to his room. And I grabbed his arm and asked him what the meaning of that was. He just shook off my hand and ran off. I went after him, but he shut himself off in his room and is still refusing to leave. See? It's like he admitted to being the killer. Blood, huh? Kana was choked to death, but there were bloody scratch marks on her throat. If Soichi really is the killer, it makes sense that his sleeve would be dirty with blood. But I don't think we need to go to the entrance. Is there anything at the parlor? Entering the parlor, they find Kono wiping a table with an exhausted expression. Just how did it come to this? Have you known Miss Kana long, Kono? She's been supportive of my cooking for a long time, and then I opened my business. When I opened my business, she offered financial aid. Oh, yes. Your cooking yesterday was quite delicious. Miss Kana had first-rate taste in cuisine as well. Yes. I'm sorry, but can I ask what became of that financial aid she gave you? The police just asked me about the same thing. Thankfully, my business is doing quite well, and I have long since repaid the money she lent me. Ah, understood. I'm sorry, that was a rude thing to ask. It looks like he doesn't have any motive for killing Miss Kana. Nope. Did not want to go back there. Oh well. As Kono sits absent-mindedly and alone in the parlor, Riho speaks to him. Right. There was something I wanted to ask you, Kono. Me? What is it? Oh, nothing major. Remember how Miss Kana appeared on the stage yesterday? It's about that. Did you help her by using your trolley, Kono? Oh, you mean that. I'm surprised you figured that out. Miss Kana said she wanted to throw a little surprise, and I agreed to help. So that's what happened. Seeing our theory was correct is a relief. But I'm impressed. I thought Miss Tomizawa was the only one who cracked the secret of that trick. I thought it was natural since she was a mystery author too. But it's truly impressive to see young ladies like you figure it out too. It's, all in a day's work. These little quirks are just a bit of a clerk. Huh? Well, anyway, so you figured it out. In that case, can you solve the trick behind Miss Kana's disappearance? The trick behind her disappearance? You mean how we found her body in the hollow? No, not that. I mean before that. The way she disappeared from the parlor during the party. Huh? What do you... Around the time Miss Kana disappeared, I was looking at the entrance to the parlor the whole time. So I can swear it on my name when I say that Miss Kana did not pass through the exit. And yet, she somehow disappeared.
Yes, my mic has been on this entire time. Kana wasn't seen leaving the parlor.
つまり
So, you're saying Miss Kana disappeared through the parlor despite not going through the exit?
Exactly.
そういうこと。
Assuming I wasn't so
僕が酔っ
intoxicated
払
I
って見
missed her.
逃してい
I get it.
Riho looks around the parlor. It was decorated from walls and up to the ceiling. There is nothing that looked like it might hide an exit. There is a window, but it's still pretty high up. Going there was gonna be hard. But there might be some trick here, like with the revolving door in our guest room.
そういえば
By the
リホ
way, Riho,
昨日の
I
映像を
think
確
when we
認した
checked
時も
yesterday's footage,
いつの間
Miss
にか
Kana
カ
really
ナ先
did
生の
disappear at
姿
some
が
point.
消えてたような確認中
Though
は
I
そ
wasn't
こ
all
ま
that
で気に
focused
し
on
て
it
な
at
か
the
ったん
time.
だけどマジで
Seriously?
うん
I can't say for
ダ
sure.
メはよし
Alright,
もう一
let's
度
check
映
the
像を
footage
確
again.
認してみ
Yeah,
そうね
let's do that.
The two hurriedly make their leap to the parlor, hurrying back to their room to check the footage. God, doing this so soon after destroying my throat with his. Not a good idea. Riho and Manabe return to their room and check the party's footage again.
カナ先生
So,
の姿が
Kana
消えた
disappeared
の
at
って
around...
21時
21:30
30
or
分
so.
頃ね
I'll fast forward to
そ
that
こま
time.
で映像
Manabe moved the seek bar, fast forwarding the footage up to slightly before Kana disappeared.
ここね
Here,
これが
there's
いなく
Kana
なる直
right
前の
before she
カナ先生
disappeared.
なんか
It looks like she's
他
making
の
sure
みん
no
な
one's
がこ
looking
ち
in
ら
her
に視
direction.
線向けて確か
She
に
is. Though now she's out of the frame.
うん
It doesn't look like she's heading for the exit.
これっきり
And that's it.
これっ
This
き
is
り
where Kana disappears from the
カナ
parlor.
先生の姿
Which means
ってことは
that means...
どこかに別の
maybe
出
there
口が
was
ある
another exit.
ってことか
I
な
suppose? This room has a secret door in the elevator from the first day. This house has a lot of secret tricks to it.
この
Between
客
this
室の
room's
隠
secret
し
door
扉
and
も
the
そうだ
elevator
し
Miss Kana showed us on our
初日
first day
に案内
here,
してもらった時
this
の
house has a
エレベー
lot
タ
of
ーらしき
strange
ものも
tricks.
そうだけどパーティーへの
She
登場
prepared
だ
such
け
a
でも
surprise just to
あ
make
ん
her
なサ
entrance
プ
to
ライ
the
ズ用
party.
意したがる先
I
生
wouldn't
だ
put
か
it
ら
past
ね
Miss Kana to set up gimmicks like
安
this in
静
her
かに
house.
そういうギミックを
But we didn't really notice. I thought she just left normally.
常識の
Common sense is our blind spot, I
これ
suppose.
も事件
But
解決
this
の
could
鍵
be our
だ
key for solving the case.
だね
Right. Chances are the culprit knew about this.
この
If
こ
they
とを
didn't,
知ってた
how
可能
could they
性が
find
高い
Kana
の
after she disappeared?
え
Yes.
とにかく
Anyway, let's
こ
try
の
to
ギミ
figure
ッ
out
クの
out
謎
the
も探
trick
ってみ
behind
ま
this
しょう
gimmick.
了解
Roger that.
Back to the parlor it is.
あれ
Hmm.
そういえ
Speaking
ば
of, where are you
コナ
staying,
さんの
Kono?
部屋ってどこで
I
したっけ
didn't see your name on any of the
客
guest
室に名
rooms.
前の
Oh,
僕
me?
ですか
Last night I was going
僕は
to drive back home with my car,
昨晩
but with
車で帰るつもりだったんですよ。
everything that happened,
あんな
I ended up spending the night here.
それっ
Wait,
て
so
キッチン
I
に
spat out a
床に
cardboard
段ボー
box
ル
on
を
the
敷い
kitchen
て
floor and wrapped
毛布
myself
を
up
か
with a
ぶって寝
blanket.
ましたまあシャ
I
ワーだけ
did
は
borrow the shower
マネー
in
ジャ
the
ーさんの
manager's
部屋
room.
で使わせてもらいましたけどね
それ
that
は
sounds
大
awful.
変でしたね
No, I wanted to check the parlor for.
あれ
まあシャ
それ
Wow, so we do that and they don't even go searching. Okay. They find an emaciated Hiroko in the reception office. She looks listlessly out at the window, as if her soul had left her body altogether.
ひろこさ
So
ん
this is where you were,
こちらにい
Hiroko?
らっしゃっ自分の部屋に
Shutting myself off in my room just made me
ひ
more
らめいて
depressed.
しまったひろこさん
Hiroko,
カナは
why did that
どう
happen
して
to
こんな
Kana?
ことに
I don't know what to say. Maybe we should come again later. Riho finds Inozo pacing nervously in his room.
何か
Yes?
Ah.
Oh,
いや
I just wanted to ask if you know anything about
カナ
Miss
先
Kana's
生の死
passing.
について
Do I know something? Well, I know my upcoming publishing schedule is ruined. What about the book? My schedule's a mess as it is. I need to hold an emergency meeting as soon as I get back. How do I break the news? Who even did this? We have to clarify that, or we won't be able to leave.
あ
Calm
落ち着いて
down.
ください
Be quiet! Just get out!
でも
Riho, There's no point right now. Let's just go.
うん
Boy, what a piece of fucking work. Riho follows Manabe's advice and leaves the room. Guy cares more about his own fucking paycheck than someone's life. This is Suichi's room, but the door is locked, and there's no reply when they knock.
宗
Suichi, we need to talk to you about last night. Maybe he's pretending to be out. After the whole incident happened, the police forbid everyone from leaving the capricious hall after all. Suichi, please, let us talk to you. Riho calls him a few more times, but no response comes. I guess he's a bona fide shut-in. Well, can't refuse a questioning, and pretending he's out won't work on the police.
うん
Yeah, well, for now,
ひとまずは
let's leave him
警
to the
察にお
police, I
任せ
guess.
しとくしか あれ
Wow,
そういえば
like we already did Tomizawa's stuff. They head for the entrance where they find an officer standing guard.
Currently, everyone in the Caprices Hall aren't allowed to leave. Please refrain from leaving until the questioning's over.
We're not going far.
そん
Or,
な遠
well,
くに行くつもり
we
は
just
ない
want to
という
talk to
か
Inspector Manba.
ちょっと
To the inspector?
私たち
We're
警部と
acquainted
は
with
顔
him.
見知りなん
We've
です
assisted him in an
以前
investigation
捜査に
before.
ご協力
Please wait one moment.
The officer pulls out a transceiver and exchanges a few words. Eventually, the inspector seems to have confirmed their story as the officer puts away the transceiver and softens his expression.
The inspector gave you his permission, so allow me to escort you to the hollow. The inspector is currently checking the scene where the body was discovered.
すみませんがお願いします
Understood. Thank you. The officer escorted them, partially to monitor them, as the two made their way to the hollow.
Hey, you two. Didn't expect to run into you on another crime scene.
本当です
I
ね
feel the same way, but we do feel safer with you here,
なんだ
Inspector
警部な
Manba.
ら私
Glad to hear it. So, you said you wanted to speak to me.
ええ
Yes, actually,
実は私
we had a
たち
camera rolling during the
昨晩の
entire
パーティ
party.
ーで
It
ずっ
should
と
help
カメ
with
ラ回して
establishing
たんです
alibis for everyone in the
なんで
parlor.
Oh, really? That's a huge help. If you could supply that data now.
待ってく
Not
ださ
so
い
fast.
それ
We
には
have a
条
condition.
件があります
A condition? What exactly?
簡
It's
単なこ
simple,
とです
really. Earlier,
さっき
when you
私
explained
た
the
ち
cause
相
of
手に
death,
万
you
場
said it
さ
was
んが死因
suffocation.
について説明
Could
し
you
た
explain
時
why you said
窒
that?
息死
Why I said it? Well, I think it's clear.
昨晩
When
発
we
見した
found the
時
body last night,
遺
I
体
saw
の
rope
首に
marks on the
索条
victim's
痕
neck.
があるのを
The cause of
私
death
見
should
て
be
るんです
strangulation, right?
ならば死因
Well, you two are still suspects, so I probably shouldn't be speaking to you about this.
私
We're
た
willing
ち
to
は
share
貴重な
important
映
footage
像デー
data.
タを提供
That
する
should
んです
prove we're
よ
on your side, Manba.
そこが
Yes, we did crack a case together. All right then. Yes, there were definitely rope marks, but the autopsy reports posits they were inflicted on the victim post-mortem.
死後
Postmortem?
Correct. We found some rope that was likely used in the process lying nearby. Its thickness matches the marks, so there's no doubting it. In other words, the victim was suffocated in some manner, and then propped up to make it seem like they were strangled.
つま
Which
り
means they left the rope here to mask the murder
盗撮
method.
に偽装し
In
よう
other
と
words,
しただ
there's a chance the crime wasn't committed here.
と
Yes. However, that's the hard part. No one left the estate until you went out to search for her. If nothing else, no one went outside since the party started, until you all went out to search for her.
それは
Well, how can you say that for
なぜ
sure?
そう言い切れる
The estate is contracted with a security company. When the door is leading outside open, it leaves a record, and there's no records for last night. Of course, the security cameras also confirm that no one left. It's impossible for someone to commit the murder indoors, then carry the body out here. Even if this is the crime scene, how did the victim get here?
It's like she
レポートでもした
was
みたいな
teleported
話
here.
ですね
I can't deny that thought crossed my mind. I'd actually like to ask you two, when you went out to look for Miss Kana, was it possible for someone to carry the corpse over somehow?
まさ
No,
か
It's impossible. We went outside together, so we'd have noticed if someone did that. Yeah, no one was carrying anything but a flashlight.
Which just leaves the possibility of some secret path.
There's definitely some strange tricks to the interior of the estate. Maybe there's a passage leading outside. If they were so cautious of a burglary that they hired a security company, not telling them about the passage strikes me as pretty careless.
It would come across as weird. You'd expect a passage leading outside. Now then, I should be getting back to the investigation. Is that all you wanted to ask?
Yes, that should be everything. We're sorry for taking your time. We'll leave the footage with your officers.
Yes, please do.
Riho and Manabe part ways with Manba and return to the estate. Having finished their investigation, Riho and Manabe return to their room. Let's take a shower, wash off all the sweat, and try to figure out this thing one more time. Say, what do you think about Miss Kana's death? Well, I'm sad, of course. I would have loved to read more of her novels. And I would have loved for you to act in an adaptation of her books, and then show it to Miss Kana. Manabe. Manabe closes her eyes quietly, but then opens them again, as if having come to a conclusion. I can't believe some passing-by murderer did this. It's only natural to assume someone who was in the Caprices Hall yesterday did this. And that means, like Tomizawa said, the most suspicious person is Soichi. He has no alibi and does have a motive. And there is the matter of the blood on his arm. We have to talk to Soichi somehow and ask him about it. You're right, but how do we get into his room? Don't you feel like we still don't know too many things? Huh? About this estate and Soichi. I think we need to investigate this a little more deeply. Remember what Kono said. He doesn't recall seeing her leave the parlor. That might be related to how Kana was carried to the hollow. True. There's still a lot of questions floating around this incident. Answering them one by one might be our key to solving this mystery. Yeah, let's investigate how Kana left the party again. There should be a clue somewhere in the parlor. You're right. Let's head for the parlor. They were likely in the middle of questioning Kono because when Riho and Manabe arrive at the parlor, they find it silent and empty. Okay, and Mike is still... Sorry, I'm moving the mic so I can try to not have things be, like, overheard too much. Now then, since there's no sign of Kana leaving through the exit, there should be another way out of this room around here somewhere. Judging by the small room trick we saw in our room, this isn't going to be simple to solve. Yeah, time to use the old noggin! Hey, the stage is too obvious and there's no way she would have left through the windows. At the very end of the right-hand side of the hall is an open door leading to a small room. This is... a cloakroom? Looks like it, but it's a bit small. A cloakroom was a space for storing clothes. It was likely built along with the stage to be used by whoever's performing on it. Peeking into the room, Riho finds it doesn't seem to lead to a staircase or anything of the sort. Guess you wouldn't usually put an emergency staircase in a cloakroom. Still a little suspicious. I should check inside anyway, just to be on the safe side. The two step through the open door and go inside. Upon pulling the curtain open, they find nothing but a hanger hanging at the height of one's head. Nobody used this place last night, right? Well, it's summer, and it was a casual party, so nobody came with their cloaks or coat. Makes sense, but the cloakroom is extremely cramped, so much so that it felt narrow with the two of them inside. Cramped space, empty hanger, and it's totally dark with no light. The situation gave her an odd sense of deja vu. It felt like she'd been somewhere like this before. Where was it again? What's wrong? I feel like I'm going to remember something, but it just won't come out. At times like this, close your eyes and take a deep breath. Try thinking back on what happened last time. Right. Let me try.
やってみる。
Riho closes her eyes and sharpened her senses, keen to trace back to the thread of that memory. I passed through a cramped place, then bumped into something soft, and then...
ね
Hey,
え、そこ
if
で
you
や
do
ら
it
れる
there,
と
I
私
can't
出
get
れない
out.
けど。
Right.
ああ、
Sorry.
ごめん。
Riho moves aside with her eyes closed, and then she feels her shoulder bump against something.
Hmm?
What was that?
なんだろう。ちょっと
You
ハン
just
ガーだ
bumped
っただ
against the
けよ。
coat hanger.
ああ、
Oh,
ハンガー
The
ね。
hanger. Wait,
ハ
the
ンガー
hanger? Riho's eyes open with surprise. Was this what I bumped on back then?
リホ
Riho, what's wrong?
どうしたの？だと
If
した
it
ら。
is... Riho pushes past Manabe and heads for the back wall, and then rolls up the velvet furnishing as it. Riho pushes past Manabe and heads for the back wall, and then rolls up the velvet, furnishing it as hard as she could. Beneath it, she reveals what is clearly an elevator door.
や
I did it! I found it!
これは
This is...
真鍋。
Manabe, do you remember the first time we were
初め
here?
てここに来た時のことを覚え
Miss
てる？
Kana was showing us around the
花先
Capricious
生
Hall.
そうだけど。
But...
あ、思い出した。私たち目隠
Do
し
you
されな
remember?
がら
She
3階に
blindfolded
連れ
us
て行ってもら
and
ったよ
took,
ね。
and took us to the third floor.
あの時
I was blindfolded
目
back then,
隠ししてた
but I heard myself
何か
bumping
に
into
ぶつか
something.
った音
And
が
it
して
sounded exactly like this
それが
coat hanger.
この言われてみれば
Now that you
納得
mention
だけ
it,
ど
It does make
あな
sense.
たってなん
Your
ていう
intuition is
か
surprisingly sharp in the
無駄
most
に感が鋭いんだ
useless ways.
えへへでも
But
ここ
if
に
there's an
エレベーターがある
elevator
っ
here,
てことかな先生がパー
this
ティーを
might
抜
have
け
been
出
how
し
Miss
た
Kana
方法が
left
分
the
かっ
party.
たかも。うん。
Right.
きっ
She
と
probably snuck
気
in
づ
here
か
when
れ
no
ない
one
よ
was
うに
looking
こ
and
こに
used the
入ってる。
elevator.
そうね。
Right. But where did she go?
でもそれはこ
That's
れ
what
から
we
調
need
べ
to
て
check.
こう。
The two squat as they cross through the low door and quickly enter the elevator.
あれ
Huh?
どうしたの？
What's wrong,
リ
Riho?
ホエレベー
What
タ
are
ー
the
のボタン
elevator's
の
buttons
一
just
つに
says
B
B?
って書いてあ
What
る
do you
ん
think
だ
that
けど。
means? From top to bottom, the elevator buttons say 3, 1, and B.
この配置からして
Judging from how they're positioned,
地下って
it
意
probably
味じゃない
means
かしら。
basement.
だよね。
So there's a basement.
地下にもこれは
We need to check
調べ
this
て
out.
みる必要。うん。
Yeah, I'm
3
curious
階
about
も
the
気に
third
な
floor,
るけど
but we should
見
probably
てい
check
ない
the
地下
basement
を
first.
先に調べた
We
方
were
がいい
never
か
down
も。
there. We might discover
何
something
か
new.
そうね。
Right. We
3
can go
階
to
に
the
行く
third
のは
floor
その
later.
後にし
After operating the elevator's panel, they easily reach the basement level. They find themselves in a cold space. They see no windows, though that was to be expected since they were underground.
明かりがあるからい
It's
い
a
け
good thing
ど
there are lights
な
on,
んか
but this
怖いね。
place is creepy.
とにかく
Anyway,
い
there are
く
a
つか
few
部屋
rooms
があ
here.
るみたいだ
Let's
か
check them
ら
out.
調べてみましょう。
They find a room with a plate that said Vacuum Library on the door.
真空
Vacuum
実験室
library?
部屋から
I
空
think
気
you-
を
I
抜くことができるん
I
だと
think
思
you
う
can。drain all the air from this room.
え
Huh? Isn't it
それ
like
ってめちゃくちゃ
dangerous?
危険で危険よ。
Very. If you create a
中
vacuum
に
in the
人が
room
いる
while
時
someone's
に真
inside,
空にしたら
they'll definitely
間違
die.
いなくしかも
And when there's a vacuum,
真空
you
状
can't
態
open
で
the
は
door from
気
the
圧の
outside
せいで
because of the air
こう
pressure.
いう外めっ
That's
ちゃ
really
危険じゃん。
dangerous. Why is there
な
some
ん
kind
で
of
こん
room
なもん
here?
屋敷にあるのよ。
Why is there this kind of room here? Hang on, sorry, my voice is cracking. That's crazy. Why is there this kind of room here?
わからな
I
い
don't
けど
know. Maybe she experimented with it for a trick
何
she'd
か
use
小説
in
に
one of
使
her
うトリッ
novels?
クを検証。そのために
Making a
わざ
whole
わざ
room
こ
just
んな
for
部屋
that?
作っちゃうなん
That's
て
pretty excessive.
こだわり。
The room falls silent again, and the vacuum equipment doesn't seem to be operating. Still, the two of them look inside timidly.
こういう部屋なら
Rooms
普通
like
は
this
内部
usually
に
have an
緊
emergency
急停
stop
止
button.
ボタンとかがあるはず
There,
だけど。
see it? It has one.
ほら
Next to the door is a red button with the text "Emergency Stop" written next to it.
本当だ。
You're right.
あれどうしたの？
What?
このスイ
This
ッ
switch
チ
looks
壊
broken.
れてるみたい。
Rio tries to push the button a few times, but it doesn't budge.
どうやら
It
変な
looks
方
like the
向に
button's
力が加
broken.
わったせいで
It looks like the
ボタン
button's
が
broke
壊れて
because
しま
someone
ったようね
tried to apply someone applied force to it in the wrong direction. The vacuum library's emergency stop button is out of order.
停止ボタンの
A
効かない
vacuum
真
library
空
with an
実験
emergency
室
stop button that doesn't work.
これじゃ
If anything were to
中
happen
で
inside,
何かあっても
there'd
止め
be
られ
no
ないわ
stopping
ね
it.
しかも
And you
これ
wouldn't know this button is out of
触
order
って
until
み
you
るま
touch
で
it.
故障ね
Hey,
えもし
so
か
you
して
think maybe Miss
カナ
Kana?
先生この部屋で
It's
窒
possible she
息死させられた
suffocated to
可
death
能
in
性
there,
が出てき
yes.
たわね
We probably shouldn't touch
これ
anything
以上
else.
余計なと
The
ころ
police will
触
want
ら
to
ない方がい
investigate
い
this
わ
place later.
そうだ
Right.
ね
The two naturally tiptoe out, leaving the room silently. We'll leave the atelier for later. Upon opening the door, Riho and Manabe are greeted by the sight of bookshelves packed with books.
うわ
Whoa!
すごい
Look at all those
本
books!
ここはお
This
そ
is
らく
probably Miss Kana's
カ
reference
ナ
room.
先生の知り
Oh,
こ
there's
こにも
a
ニューマ
pneumatic
チック
system
システ
set
ム
up
が
here
ある
too. Right.
そう
So
か
she sent materials
こ
to
こ
her
から
studies
先
from
生の
here.
書斎に資料を隣にイン
But
ター
there's
ホ
an
ンがあるか
intercom
ら
next to it, so she
こ
probably
れで欲
used
し
it
い
to
資料の
specify
指
what
定を
materials
聞
she
いて
wanted
送
sent
り出
up.
すってこと
That's
便利な
convenient,
ような
but I get the feeling she
わざわざ
didn't
こ
really
んな
need
こと
to
しな
set
くても
something
いいよ
like this
な
up.
これもカナ
That's just
先
Miss
生の
Kana's
遊び
playful
心な
nature.
んでしょまあ
Well, can't judge a
趣味の
person for
世
having
界
a
だよ
hobby, I
ね
guess. Sorry, my Riho voice is getting bad. As they enter the room, the countless portraits lining the walls draw their attention.
わ
Wow!
あ綺麗な絵
So
がいっ
many
ぱい
pretty paintings!
ここは
This must be a studio.
アトリエみ
Riho looks at the room's center. A single painting stands there, propped up on a wooden stand.
ねえ
Hey,
これ
look at this!
これは
This is... Drawn on the canvas is an image of a woman smiling with a building in the background. There are some blank spots on the portrait, so it's likely still in the process of being drawn.
真ん中に
Isn't
いる女
the
性
woman in the middle
こ
here
れっ
Miss
て
Kana?
カナ先生じゃ間
That's
違いないわ
definitely
ね
her. And the building
し
behind
か
her,
もこの後ろの
it's still
建
only
物
half drawn, but...
まだか
Yeah, it can't be
密か以
anywhere
外
but the
にありえ
Capricious
ないよ
Hall.
こん
You
な
can't
特
mistake
徴
this
的な
silhouette.
シルエット
Huh. The paint around the Capricious Hall's drawings is still moist compared to the rest of the painting. Riho rubs that spot gently. Riho rubs that spot gently, only to have a bit of scarlet paint cling to her hand. I knew it. Someone drew this painting just recently.
この絵
I
カナ先生が描かれていたものっていうのはなさす
yeah, I can't
建物を
imagine
背
she'd
景
draw
に自
herself
分
with
を
this
描く
building
っ
as
て
the backdrop.
そうはしない
There's
と思う
probably
し
Soichi who drew this,
宗一さんは
Miss
芸
Kana
術
did
家だっ
say
て
he was an artist,
カナ先生だとする
which
と
means he knew about this
彼もあの
elevator
エレ
and
ベー
could
タ
go
ー
to
の
the
存在
basement
を知
too.
っててまさ
I
か地
didn't
下に
imagine
こ
we'd
んな
find
場所があ
someplace
っ
like
た
this,
なんてね
someplace like this in the basement.
というか
I mean,
よく
all
わ
of
か
these
ら
rooms are
ない
really
部屋
weird.
ばかりだよ
We didn't find any passage
それ
leading
にやっ
outside.
ぱりそう
Right.
か
Even if she snuck out of the
パー
party
ティ
through
ーから
here,
近いと
she
抜け出
didn't
した
have a
と
way
して
out of the
も
estate.
そこから、
Right,
た
except
だ
we did
真
discover
空
the
実験
vacuum
室の
laboratory
存在
and one more
そ
big
して
piece
もう
of
一つ
information.
収穫
A big piece of information.
さ
Yep. For now,
とにか
let's
く
go
地
back
上
up.
に戻ろう
With this little
その
in-
収
and
穫があ
with
れ
this
ば
bit of
話
information,
がで
we
きる
should
よう
be
に
able
な
to
るから
talk. Huh? Wait,
ちょっと
what do you mean talk?
話ができるってどう
Hey,
いう意味
Riho!
ね
Riho doesn't answer Manabe's question, simply pulling her by the arm back to the elevator. Unlike earlier, the parlor was filled with officers. The room was filled with a frantic atmosphere. With Riho discovering the basement, they were on the verge of identifying the real crime scene. Inspector Manba stands imposingly in the center of the room, watching over the officers as if this was the most critical moment.
マンバさん
The
張り切っ
inspector's
てる
really
ね
into this, huh?
殺
Well,
害現場
even
が
if they
分
know
か
what
った
the
として
crime scene is,
犯人がす
that
ぐ
doesn't
特定
mean
で
they
きる
can
わけでも
immediately
ないんだけど
pinpoint the
ね
real killer.
そもそも
We don't know how the
死体を
corpse was
どうや
moved
って
through the
あそこ
hollow
ま
yet,
で
after
運んだ
all.
のか
Yeah, that's true. I feel like if we could figure that out, we'd know who the killer is.
Oh, thanks to you two, we can identify the real murder scene. Really, we're grateful.
So, the crime scene really was down there in the basement, right?
Yes, we checked the vacuum laboratory and found faint luminal reactions on the inner side of the door. She likely scratched at her neck while she was suffocating, leaving blood on the door from her fingers.
You mean she was running out of air and tried to open the door, and then...
That's how it seems, yes.
That's gruesome. I knew it was murder, but this is too awful. Dying in such a terrible way. It's too much. Manabe.
We're doing our best to arrest the perpetrator. That's the minimum amount of respect we can pay the victim.
He's right, Manabe. We'll definitely find the killer. Let's avenge Miss Kana's death together. Right. I'm sorry. I let my feelings get the better of me.
Anyway, we're doing everything we can, so we'd appreciate it if you can tell us if you learned anything relevant.
Roger, sir. Yes.
The two of them stop in front of Soichi's room.
I get the feeling we came here for no reason again. Are you sure we can speak to him? We saw the studio in the basement. I think we can manage it somehow. Oh? Leaving behind Manabe, whose expression turns quizzical, Riho approaches the door and speaks. Soichi, we need to talk. It's important. Please open the door. But the only reply she gets is silence. We saw your painting of Miss Kana in the basement. Riho can hear something move silently behind the door. The one who drew, the one drawing that painting was you, right, Soichi? Please, open the door. A moment of silence, and then... Come in. The door opens with a grave, heavy sound. Soichi's room is cluttered, with objects strewn all over the place. It couldn't be called a clean, hygienic place. Still, Riho assumes she shouldn't compare a guest room meant for the temporary residence and a personal room. How did you know I was the one drawing it? It's of Miss Kana standing in front of the estate. I don't think Kana could have drawn it herself. So I knew the only artist in this estate who could have drawn it was you. That studio. It was a room Miss Kana prepped for you, right? Soichi, please tell me. Miss Kana cherished you so much. Where were you when she passed away? I don't want to say. The way this is going, you're the only one without an alibi. They might decide you're the killer. Tell the truth, if only to dispel that suspicion. That was a good crack. It looks like he won't talk no matter what. Then I won't back down either. Were you in the studio drawing while it happened? That painting was still fresh. The paint wasn't even dry. Yesterday, you went to the studio to finish that painting, right? You probably wanted to finish your birthday present for Miss Kana on time. Tomizawa told me. She said your arm had blood on it, and she started blaming you when she saw it, right? A visible shiver ran across Soichi's face. No, that was... It's fine. I get it. What Tomizawa saw on your arm wasn't blood, right? It was actually red paint, right? That paint clung to your hand while you were painting. When you heard Miss Kana died, you ran out of the studio and forgot to wash it off. And unfortunately, Tomizawa saw it. The fact she suspected you made you scared, and you ran. Am I wrong? Soichi remained wordless for a few more seconds before eventually deciding to part his lips. You figured out that much. If it was blood splatter, it would have been on your clothes. But Tomizawa only saw it on your arm. She said that she saw it on his sleeve. But it makes sense you'd roll up your sleeve while painting, and it got dirty while you were working. It happened exactly the way you described. Kana made that studio for me. I'm too antisocial, so she had it built for me, so I could paint freely. So I wanted to draw her that painting as a present, to show her how grateful it was. I wanted to make her happy. A tear runs down Suichi's cheek. Why? Why did this happen? Suichi. The only thing I'm good for is drawing. I thought participating in that party would just drag her name through the mud. So that's why you shut yourself off in the studio last night. Suichi gives a short nod. Why didn't you speak up until now? If you'd just explained that it's paint, not blood on your arm, we'd understand. I'm bad at talking. I thought I wouldn't explain right. I thought if you'd misunderstand anyway, I may as well. And I might have left Kana to die back then too. What do you mean? I left the studio to go to the bathroom when I saw the vacuum laboratory door was closed. And there were noises coming from the inside. But the noise stopped, so I thought I just imagined it was I just imagined it and walked away. If I'd only opened the door back then, Kana might have been saved. And that thought scares me so much. Because the doors to the vacuum laboratory are usually closed. Yes. The vacuum equipment is shared with the pneumatic system, so it has to stay closed at all times. The vacuum equipment uses the pneumatic system. I see. The pneumatic system uses the vacuum to transport things, so they share the same vacuum equipment. Yes. If that's the case, you shouldn't blame yourself. If the door's usually closed, you wouldn't notice something's wrong. You really think so? Hang on one moment, guys. Continue. You really think so? I do. The only one who should be blamed here is the killer. And if you're not the killer, I can't imagine Miss Kana blaming you for it either. Really? Suichi crumbles to his knees and starts sobbing. The two leave the room, leaving him to his sorrow. Riho arrives at Tomizawa's room and is immediately ushered in. But much to Riho's surprise, she finds another unexpected person in Tomizawa's room. Don't know why I said woman. Oh, hello! Kono, what are you doing here? Oh, I invited him over for tea.
The police make the parlor quite noisy, and I have nowhere to rest. That's when Miss Tomizawa kindly invited me over.
I see. Yes, I would assume the parlor is in quite the mess right now.
I hope the police will lift this house arrest within the day.
Who knows? Our identities are all confirmed, so I don't think they can keep us here indefinitely.
I should hope so. I'd rather not sleep on a piece of cardboard again.
So, how's the police investigation going? Kono told me they discovered a basement. Yes, looks like it. We haven't heard of any new findings yet. But I hear they think the room the crime took place in is down there, right? Right, Kono?
Yeah, they said something like that. I only heard bits and pieces of the conversation.
So that's why. Seeing the way they act makes Riho realize why Tomizawa invited Kono over. Shiho Tomizawa is likely trying to get information out of Kono about what the police were doing in the parlor. She is a mystery author after all. She can't help but stick her neck in. Not that we can judge her since we're playing detective too. As soon as they stand in front of the reception room, they could hear people arguing. Riho realizes she's better off not going inside. She opens the door to a crack and checks what's going on inside.
だから
I keep
そんな
telling
こ
you,
とを言われ
even
て
if
も
you say that, I
簡
can't
単には
just
い
do
かない
that.
と
Yeah, but try putting yourself in my shoes here. We already put in the advertising expenses for the next book. We can just say it's not coming. It's not coming now. We can't just say it's not coming now this late into the game. We can publish it as a posthumous manuscript if you do it now. Please work on it. Think of it as retouching it.
無茶を
Don't be
言わないでくだ
unreasonable.
さい
If I change Miss Kana's style, the fans will be upset. Where there's a will, there's a way. You came up with the tricks for most of her works anyway, right? Hiroko came up with the tricks to Kana's novels. Yes, it is that zoomed in like normally as well. This is the first I've heard of that. Hiroko came up with the tricks for her books? Having thought that far ahead, Riho exclaims in realization and wheels around to face Manabe. She's concerned that a huge fan like her might be shocked at having come face to face with such a big secret about the author she likes. But Manabe's expression was as collected as ever.
あの
Manabe?
真鍋大丈夫
I'm fine. It's not that
そん
surprising,
なの
you
別
know.
に驚くミステリ
The
ー
tricks
小
aren't
説は
that
トリッ
that
クだ
major
け
of
あ
a
って
part in
大した意
a
味は
mystery
ない
novel's charm.
それ
The
をどう
important
処
part
理
is
して
how
解
they're
かしてい
used
く
and
か
the literary style that
どう
describes
文
them.
章でひ
Oh, I see.
あ
That's good
そっ
then.
かならよかった
Ryo sighs in relief at Manabe's reaction and carefully closes the door. A number of police officers march hurriedly through the parlor, led by Inspector Manba.
しかし
Damn it! Both that manager and
マネージャーと
But
そう
damn
と
it,
かいう
both
弟
that manager and Soichi.
少なくともあ
The
の
two of them
二
have
人は
ha-
地下の存
the
在
two of them
を
had to
知って
have
いた
known about the
黙って
basement.
やが
They
っ
kept
た
quiet about it.
二人から地
They
下の
didn't
話
mention
が
it?
出てきた
No, not a word when we
事情聴
questioned
取で
them.
も一
We
切
didn't
その
imagine
こと
there'd be an
は黙ってや
elevator
がった
hidden in a place like
そ
that.
もそも
Well,
そ
I
れ
don't know
は
if you can
一概
blame
に
them
責めら
that
れないん
easily
じ
for
ゃ
that.
Hmm?
どうした
What do you mean? Why not?
だって
I mean,
遺
the
体
body
発
was
見
found in the
現場
hollow.
はあくま
They
で
didn't
マ
think
ブ
a
だった
place
わ
in
け
the,
で
in the estate only
ま
people
さ
who
か
lived
屋
there
敷
know
の
about
中
could be related.
それもみ
I suppose that makes sense. But since they knew about the place, that makes the two of them very suspicious.
Soichi, it's
リホ
Riho.
ですけど
Riho knocks on Soichi's door. Perhaps their earlier conversation broke down the wall he put up, because Soichi greets them with a meek, albeit with swollen red eyes. Because Soichi greets them meekly, albeit with swollen red eyes. Is there anything else you need from me?
ちょっと聞き
There's
忘
something
れ
I
たこ
forgot
と
to
があ
ask
っ
you.
たもので
May I?
地下の
We
存
think
在を
the
知っ
only
てい
ones
る
who
のは
know about the basement
宗
are
一
you
さん
and
と
Hiroko,
マ
the
ネージャー
manager.
のひろこさん
Is that right?
このお二
多分
I think.
姉さん
Assuming
の
Kana
ひ
and
ろこさん
Hiroko
が
never told
他
anyone
の
else.
人に
なるほど
I see.
では
Then
もう
one
一
more
つ
thing. On our
初
first
日
day
に
here,
カナ
Kana
先生
showed
に
us
3
the
階を
third
案
floor.
内していただい
She
た
said
ん
the
です
view
け
from
ど
the rooftop was
その時
lovely.
に屋上に
Does
出る
that
方
mean
法
there's a
が
way up
あ
to
る
the
というこ
rooftop?
とです
それは
I don't know.
わからない。
わからない
Even you don't know. Even
宗
you
一
don't
さん
know,
にもです
Soichi.
か
うん。
No. Kana said the way to the rooftop was a secret only she knew
姉さん
about
だけの
and
秘
wouldn't
密
tell
だっ
me.
て言っ
なるほど
I see.
それ
And
で
that's,
結構
that's enough, though.
屋
just
上
knowing
に
that
出
there
る
is a
方
way
法
up
が
there
あ
is
る
good
とい
enough.
うこと聞きたかっ
That's
た
all
の
I
は
wanted
そ
to
れだ
ask
けです
Soichi. Thank you.
宗一さん
Riho? Riho hurries away from the room, leaving a perplexed Manabe behind. Manabe follows after her in a flustered manner.
うーん
It really does bother me.
やっぱり何が
What is it?
真鍋
Manabe, you had your camera running when Kana drove us here on the first day, right?
も
Of
ちろん
course. Visiting her house is a once-in-a-lifetime memory.
その映
Can
像
we go back
確
to our
認
room
したいな
and check
ち
that
ょっと部
footage?
屋に戻
Huh?
ちょ
Riho.
っと
What?
リホ
Riho hurries out of the room, ignoring Manabe's flustered reaction. Manabe hurriedly follows after her. Upon returning to their room, Riho and Manabe used the camera's preview function to examine yesterday's footage again.
どのシーンを出
Which
せば
scene
いいの？
which scene do you want to see?
うん
I want to see the part where you recorded a panoramic view of the capricious
円
hall.
形だとな
It'd
お
be
いいんだ
best
け
if you
ど
got it from a distance.
そうね
Right, then
だったら
how about this part?
おバッチリエビチ
That's
リだ
great,
よマナベ
that's great, cabaret!
エビチリ
Leave
は
out
いい
the
けど
cabaret.
こ
What
れは
about it
どう
though?
かしたの？この映像の
What
中
direction
で
is the hollow
遺
we
体が
found the
発
body
見
in
された
relative to
窓
this
の位
footage?
置はどの
The road we took there
歩
curved,
いた
so
距
it
離
should
と
be
道
this
の
way.
カーブから
It
す
was
ると
probably a sideway from, it was probably a sideway from the driveway.
うん
Mm, I knew it. It has to
きっ
be.
とそう何か分かった
Did you
のね
figure something out?
うん
Yeah, but I'm
だ
not
け
sure
ど
yet.
まだ確
I
証じ
think
ゃ
we'll
ない
figure out everything once we go to the
きっ
rooftop,
と
though.
屋上に行けば屋
The
上
rooftop?
うん
Yeah, there should be a way up to the
3階のどこか
rooftop
に
somewhere on
屋
the,
上
on
へ
the
と
third
上がる
floor.
方法があ
Let's
る
find it. At times like these, letting Riho do her own thing was usually the right choice. Knowing this, Manabe simply nods and leaves the room with Riho. Number of police officers? There are 2 officers standing in the cloakroom, but there's tape to specify they weren't allowed to pass. The officers thankfully say nothing as Riho boards the elevator.
ここだ
here we are.
初日にカナ
This
先
is
生
where
に
Kana
案
brought
内し
us
て
on
も
our
らった
first
来た
day.
とこそうね
Right. It was 2 days
た
ago,
った2日
but
前
it
な
feels
の
like
に
such a long time.
もうずいとにかく
Anyway,
屋上に
if
上
there's
が
a
る
way
方
up to
法
the
があると
rooftop,
したら
it
こ
has
の
to
フ
be
ロ
on
ア
this
しか
floor.
ないはずなの
Let's try to find it.
なんと
Yes. It's Kana's study. Unlike last time when Kana was there to show them around, this room felt awfully dreary without its owner. Those are probably materials for writing. Sitting on the table are documents that look like they were copied off some book.
なんだろうこれ
What's this? Essential iron mining articles?
必要古い
Looks
書
like
物
there
を
are some
国
old
会図書
documents
館
that
か
were
どこかで
copied
コピーしたも
in
の
the
らしいわね
National Diet Library.
こっちに
There's a
要約
summary
メモ
sheet
が
here.
あるわどれどれ
Let's see. Kaniago is said to be a
金谷
patron
の神は
god in
清
iron
潔の神
manufacturing,
であり
an
遺体
unusual
を
god
好
with a
む
fondness
珍
for
しい神で
corpses.
あるタタラ炉の
It's
周
said that
囲
by
に死
decorating
体を
its
飾ることで
Tatara
上質の
furnace
血
with
をもたらす
corpses, it produced high quality iron.
カナ先生の
It
手
looks
に
like
よ
Miss
る
Kana
メモのよ
wrote this
うだけ
memo,
ど
but it's a bit
パー
different
ティ
from
ーの
what she
時に
told us
聞
at
い
the
た
party.
話と、うん、
Yeah, the nuance is a bit different from it
生贄を求めるというのとは
from it
少し
seeking
ニュア
out
ンスが違うし
sacrifices, and it
ま
says
してや
nothing about it
山
roaming the
々を
mountains
徘
for
徊
new
して
ones.
生贄そもそも
And
性
since it's
別
a
の
god
神
for
様
iron
ってこと
manufacturing,
は
it shouldn't have
今井
anything
銀
to
山
do
と
with
は
the
関係
Iwami
ない
silver
よね
mine.
どうやら
I suppose
怪談じみた話として盛り上げるために
dramatized the story to make
か
it
な
more
り
of an
脚
exciting
色した
horror
ってと
story
こ
for
ろ
the
かし
party.
ら
Looks like it. She went so far as to make
あ
that
んな登場の
she
仕
went so
方
far as
す
to
る
make
くらい
that
だし
entrance, so I
サ
can
ービス
imagine her
精神
being
で
this
それぐら
devoted
いのことは
to
し
keeping
そう
us
だもん
entertained. Riho and Manabe peer at Kana's PC. The monitor is dark, but it's probably in sleep mode. With a few strokes of the keyboard, the screen comes alive.
パスワードもかかって
Looks
ない
like
ん
it's
だ
not
ね
password protected.
ま
I
あ
guess she
部外
figured
者が
outsiders
入り込ん
wouldn't
で
find
くる
this
こ
room,
とも
so
な
she
い
didn't
部
care
屋だ
much
し
for security.
それどころじ
Forget
ゃな
that,
いわ
Riho.
よ
This
いや
file might be... No way. Is this Miss
この
Kana's
ファイル
newest
も
work?
しかして
Looks like it.
そうみたいだけ
Can I read it?
いや
Manabe clearly forgot they were investigating and shifted back to being just a fan of Kana's. Riho cracks a forced smile and agrees.
読んでみ
Yeah,
よう
let's
か
read it. It might
なん
hide
か
some
手
hint.
がかりがそう
Right.
よね
This is
これ
for
も
solving the
事件
chase.
解決のた
We've
め
got no choice.
しか
The two spend some time reading through the file containing Kana's newest work. Kana seemingly had only written the intro because the file was only 10 pages long.
これって
This is
書きかけだ
it's
けど
unfinished, but it looks like the protagonist is plotting to become successful by murdering someone to sacrifice someone to Kaniago.
みたいね
I get it.
つまり
So
カナ
So
先生は
Kana
次
used the
回
party
作
to
の
introduce
構
her
想を
next
パ
work's
ーティーで
concept.
階段仕立てそういう
Looks
こ
like
と
it.
ね
She probably casually
構想
mentioned the
さりげ
concept
な
to
く
gauge our
話して
reactions.
どれかもね
Could be, but between the ghost story and
で
the
も
tricks
あ
in
の階
Capricious
段ら
Hall,
しい話
Miss
と
Kana
言って
really was an entertainer
こ
at
の
heart.
人がそりゃ
Of course she
そうよ
was. That's what made her such a successful first-rate
一流の
author.
作家として
Yeah,
マナ
I
ベ
see
が
why
ファ
you
ンになる
became
の
a
も
fan
わ
of
か
hers.
るよ
Maybe I should pick up her
私
novels
も家
sometime
にある
too.
やつ本当
Really? Then once you
それ
finish
じゃ
reading, we
読
can
み
stay
終
up
わ
all
ったら
night
その
talking about how
素晴らし
great
さ
her
に
work
ついて
is.
徹夜はちょっと
I think I'll pass on
パ
the
スか
all-nighter.
な
I think we're just gonna skip back to just doing normal voice instead of trying to do different voices for them. Sorry, guys. But we're almost 2.5 hours in, and I don't want to destroy my throat any more than it already was. Earlier, like the past few days. The bookshelves are stacked with technical manuals. One among them sticks out, an old handwritten notebook.
これは
This notebook.
カ
It
ナ
was
先
Miss
生の
Kana's.
手紙
Flipping through the pages, Riho sees schematics with memos attached to them. I think it's full of ideas for her tricks.
Ah,
Here's the tricks for using the food trolley.
the same one Kana used in the party. And the last page says,
Riho's breath catches in her throat. She slaps the notebook shut and turns her gaze to Manabe. Upon confirming Manabe isn't looking at her, she stuffs the notebook in her bag. Other than the documents, there are only normal writing implements on the table.
もう特に
There's nothing else out of the
変わった
ordinary
もの
here.
はなさそう
As Riho says this, she peeks below the table and lets out an erratic screech.
あれ
Huh?
何
What
こ
the
れ
heck?
変な
There's some
タンク
weird
みたい
tanks
な
down
のが
there.
ポリタンクみた
Looks
いだ
like
け
a
ど
plastic tank.
なんでこ
What
ん
is
な
it
ところ
doing
に
under the table?
Beneath the table were two large plastic tanks. They were closed with large lids. Their transparent flanks showed the tanks were full of some kind of liquid.
ラベルに
The
塩化
label
メチレンっ
says
て書いてあるよ
dichloromethane.
塩化メチレン
Dichloromethane.
Dichloromethane is a type of colorless chemical with an acute smell that's usually used as a solvent.
これだけの
There's
量
so much of it.
一
What was
体
she
何
planning
の
on
ために
using it
使う
for?
つもりだったのトリックの
Maybe to
交渉
investigate
用
for
と
some
か
trick?
それに
There's
しちゃ
still quite a lot
量
of
が
it.
多いわね
The two stood there, lost in thought for a few moments, but eventually came up with nothing and decided to leave the tanks as they were.
This is the manager's room. If she lives here, maybe Hiroko knows how to get to the rooftop too.
Of course, they can't go into a room that belongs to someone who's still alive. The two closed the door without touching anything in the room.
We were never given the option to look at Kano's room before. Riho finds what looks to be Kana's room and reaches for the doorknob. But the knob only rattles and the door shows no sign of opening.
鍵がかかってるみ
Looks
たい
like it's
ね
locked.
うーん
I figured the passage to the
屋上へ
rooftop
出る
might be
抜
in
け道とか
might be in Miss
ある
Kana's
とし
room.
たら無理にこじ開ける
Well,
わけ
we
にもい
can't
か
force our
な
way
い
in.
し
Let's give up on
こ
this
こ
room.
は諦め
I
仕方ない
guess.
か
Like the last time they saw the bathroom, they find the tub is filled with clean water.
他の部屋に
We
は
couldn't
屋
find
上へ
any
行
way
く
up to the
方法は
rooftop
見
in
つ
any
か
of the
ら
other
なかった
rooms,
し
so it has
や
to
っ
be
ぱり
here.
あるとすればここ
Here? You mean in the bathroom?
だってうん
Yeah. In other
つ
words,
まりここは
this is Miss
カナ
Kana's
先生
private
の
space,
完
I
全な
guess.
プライベート先生しか
Don't you
知ら
think
ない
it's a
秘
perfect
密
place
の
for Miss
通路
Kana
が
to
あ
hide
る
a
として
secret
は
passageway only
最
she
も
knew
おあつらい
about?
向きとは思う言われて
When
み
you
れ
put it
ば
like that, I
確
guess
か
it
に
does.
だから
So let's
ち
check
ょっ
this
と
place
重
out
点
a
的
little
に
bit
調べて
a
み
little
よ
bit
うよ
more thoroughly. Riho reaches for the relief set on top of the pillar. Riho couldn't easily reach it with her height, but she stands on her tiptoes and somehow manages to touch it.
これ
Is this?
どうした
What?
のいや
There's an odd feeling of
なん
texture
か
here,
質
like
感が
something soft.
ふにふに
Soft? Manabe reaches for the relief with a dubious expression.
本当だ
You're right.
ふに
It
ふ
is
に
soft.
ね
What is
なん
this?
だろう
It feels like urethane
ウ
foam.
レタンとあ
Oh,
それ
right!
そんな感じ
That's what it feels like.
でも
But
普
don't
通
they
なら
usually make
石膏とか
reliefs
だ
out
の
of
に
plaster
な
or
んでそん
something
なもの
similar?
を作ったんだ
I don't know.
カナ
But
先
I'm
生
pretty
の
sure
指
Miss
定な
Kana
のは間
specified
違いな
that
いん
this
だろう
material
け
should
ど
be used. There's a
あれ
writing under the
わし
eagle
の
here.
下になんか文字が彫ってあ
An
る
eagle
よ
watches over the birds sipping at the watering hole.
羽
That's
休
what
め
it
水の
says.
庭に行く
What does that mean? Doesn't it just mean the eagle is protecting the birds while they drink? That's pretty on the nose, and there are no birds here. Maybe it's from some kind of poem. No idea what poem it could be referring to, though. Putting an inscription like this here feels pretty unnatural. There wasn't anything else there wasn't anything else anywhere else in the estate that had any engravings like this. Huh? The pillar looks like it's made from a different material compared to the rest. Riho raises her voice upon touching the pillar underneath the eagle relief. Manabe also touches it, and indeed, the area around the pillar feels warm, unlike the coldness of plaster. See? The material feels different. You're right. It seems like it's made of some light material. I wonder why. Why is only this spot different? God, my throat. Riho, look into that pillar. Look into the pillar. It looks like some kind of panel. You're right. It's not the gutter. It's not positioned on the floor. What is this? This weird panel that's only on the pillar with the eagle relief. I think there's some special meaning to that. The bathtub's water isn't hot. It's cold water. This tub's a circulating model, so I think you just need to flip a switch before you get in, and it heats the water up. But is there even a point to having cold water in there all the time? I don't know. It probably looks like a waste to us since we're commoners. The pain of being the petty bourgeoisie, huh? This is weird. Something's off about this bathroom. There has to be some kind of secret here. Riho. Manabe parts her lips to speak, but Riho silences her with a raised hand. She then looks around the entirety of the bathroom one more time. There's some kind of trick to the way this place is built, which is an eagle relief made out of urethane foam. A tub that's always full of water. A pillar made out of light materials, and an eagle watches over the birds sipping at the watering hole. Birds sipping at the watering hole. Ah! I get it! Birds that drink! Drinking birds! That's right! It's a drinky bird! A drinky bird? Right! Haven't you seen one of those bird-like toys? The kind that bob their heads up and down. This entire jacuzzi room is one huge drinky bird. Ah. And drinky birds are built so there's a red fluid at the bottom of the device. I get it. The dichloromethane. There was some in Miss Kanda's room. Right, just wait. I'll get some. Manabe hurries out of the bathroom, excited by Riho's discovery, heading for Kanda's room in a light jog. After a short wait, Manabe returns with one of the plastic tanks from Kanda's room. Riho takes it and reaches for the panel beneath the pillar. It should be here. See? Riho opens up the panel and reveals a space in space just large enough to set the plastic tank inside it. She pushes the tank into that space, and it clicks perfectly into place. I guess that's the right answer after all. It should be. 1 minute passes, and then another. The two stand with bated breath. But wait though they might, nothing in the room seems to change. Huh? Were we wrong? No, that can't be. That's the only use the dichloromethane could have. Ah! What? Were you wrong after all? To get drinky birds to work, you're supposed to pour water on the bird's head. So, let's do this. Riho scooped up water from the tub and splashed it onto the eagle relief. After being doused with enough water, the relief changed color, at which point Riho stopped. This time, it should work. The two of them gazed fixedly at the relief. Their impatience made time grind to an irritating crawl. However... Ah! Riho exclaimed. It's as if her voice was some kind of signal. The eagle relief slowly pitches forward. Until its beak reaches the water in the bathtub. You did it! It worked! The drinky bird's tilting was likely some kind of switch, because as soon as Manabe raises her voice, a metal ladder descends from the ceiling. All right, let's put a mark on it with some lift-up tape. There. After pasting a piece of tape that says dichloromethane below the pillar, Riho rises to her feet. And so the two of them discover the method to rise to the rooftop. The solution. Riho climbs up the ladder and finally reaches the capricious hall rooftop. It was likely done so it wouldn't be seen from the outside. There's no fence surrounding the wide, spacious rooftop. Whoa, this is spooky. It's dangerous out here. You could fall if you're not careful. But we still have to investigate this place. Riho approaches the edge of the rooftop with unsteady, faltering steps. She approaches a massive ventilation duct, sticking out from the edge of the roof. This is a pretty big exhaust pipe. Feels like someone could crawl in there. It's probably for the pneumatic system in the vacuum laboratory use. Must be. Yeah. And the killer probably used this. Huh? Manabe turns around, and Riho points at the exhaust duct's port. There's something there that was definitely added in later. A machine part that looks like a pinwheel. It has something like a wire wrapped around it. A pinwheel with a wire wrapped around it was attached to the exhaust shaft. It's like I thought. Riho, is this what you expected to find on the rooftop? Right. Except it's actually more than except it's actually more elaborate than I imagined. All right, Manabe, it's time to avenge Miss Kana. Let's gather everyone in the parlor. Riho. The pulley on the rooftop, the wire marks are on the tree. The pulley on the rooftop and the wire marks are on the tree near the hollow. The piano strings on the rooftop and the vacuum laboratory. That's the only answer that makes sense. At this moment, all the points connected to form a single line in Riho's mind. She takes a deep breath. Her mind feels endlessly clear, and the truth that felt so distant is now within arm's reach. Several hours later. All of the people involved with the case are gathered in the parlor. Riho spoke to Manba ahead of time, who ordered everyone to attend. Suichi showed up, albeit with a terribly uncomfortable expression. Everyone looks uniformly nervous as Riho walks to the middle of the room. Hello everyone. Thank you for gathering here. I solved this case's mystery entirely. And I'd like to share my conclusions with all of you. Whoosh. A rustle runs through everyone. Wait a moment. Actually, hang on. I'm going to. This stuff can be turned down again. Oops. Wait just a moment. Did you really solve this case? Well, that means you know who the killer is, right? Yes, I already figured out who the killer is. And that person is... you, Hiroko Mizukami.
Another rustle passes through the room.
But as it does, Hiroko alone stepped up to Riho with an air of composure. Riho, I hope that when an amateur like you says that they've identified the killer in front of everyone like this, it's because you have a good reason to. Yes, you can definitely assume that. Then let's hear it. I have an alibi. I was at the party during Kana's estimated time of death. Everyone present here can attest to that.
Okay, sorry, my mic was acting up.
In which case, how did I go to the Hollow and kill her? That's simple. The Hollow wasn't the crime scene. It wasn't. That's right. There's traces of that here in the estate. In other words,
The vacuum laboratory's emergency stop button is out of order.
the vacuum laboratory in the basement. Vacuum laboratory? There was something like that in this estate? There's an emergency stop button inside the laboratory in case someone gets trapped inside, but someone broke it. In other words, Miss Kata was shut in that room and forced to suffocate to death. Just because someone broke the button doesn't mean it was necessarily murder. Luminal reactions were discovered in that room. Miss Kata scratched at her own throat out of suffocation, resulting in traces of blood. Really now? If the police found luminal reactions in the room, then the possibility is worth examining. Someone called Miss Kata to the vacuum laboratory, closed the door, and activated the vacuum device. All they had to do next was wait for the vacuum to form. So they only had to spend time on getting into the room and pressing the switch. In other words, all they'd need is a short amount of time out of the party. I understand so far, but do you have proof Miss Kata went to the room that night? The button could have been broken for a long time now, and the bloodstains that made the luminal react could be just as old. No, I have proof that Kana left the parlor and went to the basement that day. Proof, huh? What proof exactly?
The fact that Kana wasn't seen leaving the parlor. Like, what do you think?
Miss Kana didn't leave the party through the entrance. Kono can attest to that, and we have footage of a fixed spot in the party that proves it too. But she still left the party somehow, which means she had to have used the elevator hidden in the cloakroom. Oh, I see. So you had footage. The killer probably came up with a reason to have Miss Kana meet them in the vacuum laboratory and followed after her. They trapped Kana in the room, switched on the vacuum device, and left her to suffocate to death. Wait just a moment. I understand that there's a good chance she went there, but in actuality, we found the corpse in the hollow. Doesn't that mean you can't establish the laboratory as the scene of the murder? You can't say for sure the blood marks that caused the luminal reactions weren't there before the murder. It's simple. That night, the culprit that killed Kana in the middle of the party carried her to the hollow after the party ended.
Hiroka's eyes widen at Riho's words. But she soon starts chuckling, as if what she'd just heard was simply too outrageous to be true.
And here I was, wondering what you'd come up with. I guess that's as far as your fake detective work will take you. To think you were trying to pass off this whole written fabrication as the truth. See? Everyone's as shocked as I am.
True to Hiroko's words, everyone else who had watched over the exchange with their breaths held so far regards Riho with disappointment. Riho didn't pay it any heed, though, and carries on with her words.
I'll say it one more time. After the party ended, the killer secretly carried the corpse to the hollow. Since you're sticking to that story, I suppose I have to say that even if it might end up embarrassing you. Okay? No one left the estate ever since the party ended and until we went to look for Kana. We already checked the security company's records and the camera footage. Isn't that right, Inspector?
Hiroko turns to Manaba for approval, nods with an expressionless face. With that confirmed,
Hiroko faces Riho with a smile on her lips. See? The inspector says so too. Or are you going to say there's some secret passageway? Try putting that in a mystery novel. The readers will complain to no end. No, of course there's no secret passageway. The killer used a certain trick to carry the body away. And that trick is... A pinwheel with a wire wrapped around it was attached to the exhaust shaft. Whoa, wonder what that was. Take that! The rooftop exhaust nozzle that had a pinwheel-shaped part attached to it. Huh? Hiroko can't help but suppress an exclamation of surprise. And the way she did serves as definite proof for everyone else present, even if they didn't quite understand what Riho was getting at yet. There's a significant difference in elevation between the Capricious Hall and the hollow we discovered the corpse in. The killer took advantage of that. They had piano strings serve as a ropeway, employing a pulley to move the corpse to the hollow. Then, they pretended to look for Miss Kana with the rest of us, all while pushing the corpse to the hollow along a side road, and then screamed. As a result, they moved the corpse to the hollow without leaving the estate. In other words, the only one who could do it was the first person who discovered the corpse. You, Hiroko! Everyone else stirs at once again. Their gazes turn cold. But even so, Hiroko still tries to offer a final bit of resistance. If that's true, the piano strings would have stayed at the scene, wouldn't they? It doesn't matter how you cut them; some string would stay. If the strings were drawn all the way to the estate, the police would have found them. That's where the pinwheel set in the exhaust duct was there for. It reeled back the string, collecting it. The piano strings were tied to the other end. After all, there were signs that the trees in the crime scene were chafed by something. So, one end of the strings was tied in the hollow, and the other one was on the Capricious Hall's rooftop, at the pinwheel in the exhaust duct. All they had to do was cut the strings in the hollow. The device's exhaust would then spin the pinwheel, ultimately reeling the strings back. That's... Hiroko, just give up already. You thought no one could get into the rooftop, and planned to quietly collect everything from the rooftop once the police were gone. But when we figured out how to get to the rooftop, you'd already have lost. You'd have already lost. Yes, so it seems. But I don't get it. Why would you kill Miss Kana? You were such good friends. I told you a bit about it, right? I knew her ever since the literature club in high school. We'd think up tricks, write novels. But at some point, our positions changed. At some point, I just became Kana's assistant. But I always thought I'd come up with some great trick and surprise Kana. And then I did. Kana consulted me about tricks for this house, and I came up with something. And when I did, I wanted to put it to use. And I wanted to surprise Kana with it, first and foremost. That was why? That was your reason? Like, you're a shitty friend if that's your reason. But no. Maybe I was just jealous of Kana the whole time. We started at the same place, but at some point, I was left behind in the shade, and that frustrated me. I always had a grudge against her, ever since. Hiroko. A silence settles over the large parlor. A single tear streaks down Hiroko's cheek. If this was a mystery novel, this would be the last scene. After all, there is a detective right around the corner. I only figured out this trick because there was evidence left behind in the hollow and at the rooftop. I think this trick's flaw is that it's hard to get rid of the tools you've used for it. With such a large machine on the roof, getting rid of the tools without anyone noticing is difficult. But only people who know about the trick in the bathroom can go to the rooftop. But put another way, if someone were to find proof on the rooftop, they'd know only those who knew how to get there could be the killer. And since the killer wouldn't assume anyone would get up there, they'd carelessly leave fingerprints on the tools. Right. That's exactly right. When I came up with the trick, I was absolutely positively sure no one knew. But it turns out I failed. Actually, I wasn't the only one who knew about this trick. Huh? Riho took out a notebook. It was the one she took out of Kanna's room earlier. That's a trick notebook. It's an idea notebook Miss Kanna wrote when she was still alive. Read it. This is... Kanna and I thought of this one in high school. I can't believe it. She actually kept it written down. Like it's important. Hiroko reads it fixedly, taking in every single page, and her hand stops upon reaching the final page. The trick on the final page. It's... Yes, I think Miss Kanna thought of this one on her own. And don't you think it's very similar to this trick? A method to carry a body over a distance without leaving the building, creating a line from the roof, using rope to carry a corpse. This is... Right. The actual tools and the murder method aren't written here, but overall, it's almost identical. And at the end of this page, there's a comment from Miss Kanna. To perform this, one must create a situation where no one enters the rooftop. That's because all the proof would be there, making it easy to deduce the trick. Kanna, she knew everything about this trick I came up with. Everything, down to its flaws. More tears roll down Hiroko's cheeks. They flow unabated, forming smudges on the notebook, and eventually... Hiroko raises her voice in what can only be described as a howl. Manba gently taps her on the shoulder, patiently waiting for her to get to her feet. Riho and Manabe leave the Capricious Hall behind, looking up at it one last time. The building strikes them as somehow extremely desolate. In the end, what was that howl we heard during the night of the murder? Oh, that time when I told you it was Kaniago and you got scared. Stop editing your memories like that. You were the one who got scared. Anyway, I think I know what it was now. That growling was the sound of the vacuum device operating. It was? Yeah. I thought it was the wind, but when we went out to look for Miss Kanna, the air was calm and silent. In other words, we could only hear it inside the estate. So that's what it was. Yeah. Miss Kanna probably would have been sad to leave a novel half-finished. If I was in that position, I'd like to leave a work behind. Stop that. That's ominous. It's, just a thought. Stop thinking about when you'll die. You're gonna be a great actress that'll stay in the spotlight until you're at least 80 years old. Well, that sounds bothersome in its own way. Manabe, I'll become a great actress. Good enough to make you admit how great I am. So please, stay by my side and support me until then. Riho jestingly bows her head. Manabe watches over it warmly, and bows her head in the same manner. Yes. Let's stay partners in the future, too. The two of them raise their heads, exchange gazes, and then look away awkwardly at the same time. Now then, star actress, how about one last line to pull curtains on this? Again? A great actress wouldn't complain there. Well, fine. And so, we put the Capricious Hall behind us, but we were unaware of the next case that awaited us. What was that throw? It's like, to be continued next week. A serene breeze blows. It catches Riho's words and laughter, carrying them with it somewhere in the distance. So I'm not actually going to play the ending credits because I got a copyright claim last time. So we're actually going to skip that. But for now, we're actually about to go and do a special thing. We're going to drop over a raid. So we're going to drop by a raid over at Mocha and Yako. For those of you that are here, please stick around for the raid. And if you have this on desktop, please delete the thing that's the bit at the top of the view that says raid referral. But for now, if you guys want to be able to find me more, you can find me over on Twitter with these. You can find me over on Twitter with the same name, Strap Streams. You can also look me up on YouTube for the archive channels. Episodes that are on here are going to be going up a lot later than they're going to show up on the YouTube channel because it updates once a week. But so I hope everyone had a wonderful time. This was a lot of fun. Unfortunately, this might very well be the last time that I actually get to do this, just because it's just because I don't have a whole lot of time left with this game for right now, but I will be coming back to it in the future. But for everyone that has been here, thank you all for coming. I hope you all had a wonderful time, and this is Strap Streams signing off. Thanks, and I'll catch you guys later.